in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. The eternal optimist is often ridiculed for his hopeful vision, his lofty ideals, and his unrealistic advice. Consider the optimistic cliche, it's never too late, or better late than never. Is that always the case? Or do some occasions exist where we might fare better with a more negative piece of advice? Leave well enough alone, for example. Our mystery drama, Postage Due, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Douglas Dempsey and stars Ralph Bell. I'll be back shortly with Act One. Consider for a moment the postman's creed. Neither snow, nor rain, nor heat, nor gloom of night stays these couriers from the swift completion of their appointed rounds. Bad weather is one thing, but sometimes even bigger obstacles can lie in the path of our friendly mailman. How far does his duty extend? To the point of personal hazard? To the point of actual danger? Examine the case of Mr. George McCready, mailman, whose route is the south side in the town of Smallville.
Say, George, I got a surprise for you in today's load.
A surprise from the postmaster? You're notifying me of a raise in salary, huh?
No, something for you to deliver. A letter, postmarked August 1st, 1941.
Come on.
No, really, I'm serious. They finally tore out the old wooden mail chute, and they found this letter stuck in it.
Since 1941? Oh, boy, that must be some kind of record.
Yeah, thought you'd get a kick out of it, being on your route and all. Here it is. It's got a 3-cent stamp on it.
3 cents? Those were the days.
Yeah.
So, what's the address? 507 South Market Street. 507? No one's lived in that place for years.
Hey, wait a minute. Not that house all the kids say is haunted.
Yeah, that's the one. I don't even deliver the junk mail there anymore. It's all overgrown.
Well, look, if you want, I'll turn it over to the dead letter office.
Oh, no way. After all this build-up, you think I'm not going to try and deliver it? You know the slogan, neither snow nor rain nor gloom of night. It's my duty. To Mr. Leon Winters from P.J. Moriarty. Well, at least there's a return address. Maybe I'll uncover something.
Just as long as you don't uncover anything haunted.
Listen, the only frightening thing about this job is the backache I go home with every night. 507 South Market. Well, what do you know? A car in the driveway. Must be someone here after all. I should have left my bag at the curb. It's a regular nature hike here. Hello? Anybody in there? Mailman. Hi. Somebody upstairs. It's the mailman. Hey. Who's in there? I've got a letter. I'm here out front.
Yes?
Huh? Oh. You live here?
No, I'm the owner. Just trying to stay ahead of the vandalism. Come in.
Well, this place looks pretty good inside. I figured I'd find a real mess. Why don't you rent this place out?
Nobody wants... no one would want to live here. It's not really fit. So what brings you here?
I've got a letter to deliver.
I haven't used this address in years. Must be some old-timer trying to reach me.
Oh, real old-timer. It's postmarked 1941. We found it stuck in an old mail chute down at the post office.
1941? The whole family was here back then. Who's it to?
It's addressed to Mr. Leon Winters.
Leon?
You know him?
Yes. Yes, of course. He's me. I just haven't gone by that name in such a long time.
Well, I'll bet this brings back some memories. You couldn't have been much more than 20 when it was written.
I was 17 in 1941. Who could it be from?
Mr. Winters, before I turn it over to you as a kind of formality, I'd like to see some identification, a driver's license or something.
I don't have my wallet with me.
I'd hate to give this to the wrong person after 40 years and all.
Listen, I'm not really Leon. Leon was my older brother, but he's dead now. I'm Elroy Winters, and I am executor of the family estate, so...
Well, that does complicate things a bit.
I have an identification for Elroy Winters right here.
No, it's not that, Mr. Winters. If this other Mr. Winters, Leon, that is, has passed away, then I should try to return this letter to its sender.
And who's that?
A P.J. Moriarty.
P.J. All right. Yeah, that must be Pamela. Well, you won't have any luck finding her, Mr.
McCready, George McCready.
Miss McCready. She had some connection with Leon years ago, but she dropped out of sight, and we never heard from her again.
Well, nonetheless, I think I'd better try to return the address and see what I find.
That would be Cliff Manor. One of those mansions over on Society Hill.
Oh, that's right. 1540 Society Hill.
I think you'll be wasting your time. That family moved away long ago. Listen, Mr. McCready, this letter may have something to do with my brother's estate. A lot of financial matters were never cleared up.
I can understand your anxiety, sir, but postal regulations dictate my course. Here, this is my boss's number. Call if you can give me any leads, and I'll get back to you if I reach a dead end. Fair enough?
Bit overzealous, aren't you, McCready? Your regulations should hardly apply to a letter that's 40 years late.
May I help you?
Yes, I've got a letter here that I'm returning to sender, a P.J. Moriarty.
Oh, goodness, no. The Moriartys haven't lived here for ages. They were the original owners.
I must try to locate a Pamela.
Yes. Well, you might try Adolf, the old groundskeeper. He stays out back in the cottage beyond the kennels.
Thank you.
Good day, sir.
Excuse me, you wouldn't be Adolf, would you?
I wouldn't be if I had a choice. But yes, I am Adolf. Head me down off this ladder.
Okay.
I'm really too old for this.
Well, you're lucky to be doing something useful.
I'm not useful. I've been put out to pasture. I take care of these hedges only because I want to.
Well, you do a nice job. I came here to ask about the Moriartys. Did you know them?
Did I know them? They hired me. Back then I ran the whole place, not this puny little flower patch. They sold the place in 46 and I stayed on. Been through 5 owners now. I come with the house.
Do you know any way I can reach them?
It's not likely, young fella. They all split up, had big money problems after the war ended. Not too little money, mind you, too much of it. They all went their separate ways, and that was that.
What about Pamela J. Moriarty?
Pamela? Little Pamela? She was an angel. I was always set on her. But, of course, nothing ever happened. Say, what are you after coming here and coaxing an old man out of his memory? You some kind of a cop?
No. I'm just a mailman trying to deliver a letter.
Well, the boxes are on front.
Well, you don't understand. It's an old letter from Pamela to a Mr. Leon Winters.
From Pamela? Mister, no one has heard from Pamela in 40 years. She's dead that long.
Well, that's that. She's dead. He's dead. End of the line.
Well, this Leon, he is dead, is he?
Or so his brother says. Why, you knew him?
No, I don't recall. Listen, mister, you cannot return this letter to Pamela and you say this Mr. Leon is dead. So, maybe you You ought to leave the letter here with me.
Oh? Why's that?
Well, I do hear from the family now and again.
Well, if a Moriarty comes calling, you should put them in touch with me.
But I don't know when I would hear from them. They check up on me. I can't reach them.
I'm sorry, Adolf, but I'm going to hold on to this envelope for now. Here's my number. If you hear from the family, I'd like to meet them. All right?
I don't think you want to meet the Moriartys, mister. They can be a cruel bunch. And if that letter is something important, something they want, they'd get it.
Just tell them to call me.
That you, George? Oh, hello, dear.
Don't even ask, Martha. The answer is yes. Your TV magazine has arrived. There it is.
Oh, good. You know it's an unfair life being the mailman's wife.
How so?
Well, I'm the first to see my husband leave in the morning and the last to get my mail in the evening.
You think you've got problems? I got a piece of mail here so overdue you can't imagine.
Oh, are you in trouble?
Oh, no, it's not my fault. We found an old letter in the sorting room chute, dated 1941.
How exciting! Who's it for? Did you deliver it?
I'll tell you the whole story. Just let me sit down first.
Is it a personal letter or business?
Funny you should ask. That seems to be the big question. Everyone seems to think it's going to solve their financial matters. Here, take a look for yourself.
Oh, my. August 1st, 1941. Well, it's in a woman's hand. Just look at those flourishes. Oh, I'll bet my button box it's personal. Wait, did you find this Leon Winters?
I didn't find anybody. Apparently, addressee and sender are both dead. I went to the address, 507 South Market, that old house, you know?
Oh, yes. Lots of stories about that place. Our kids all swore the place was haunted.
Well, it's not haunted now, just not rented. I met the owner. Weird duck. First he tells me he's Leon, then he tells me he's Elroy, Leon's younger brother, that Leon is dead.
He's trying to hide something?
Oh, I don't think so. It was just after the letter. And then I got the same song and dance from her side.
Her?
Yes, Pamela. She's the P.J. Moriarty.
Pamela? Were they lovers?
Oh, maybe, but let me finish. The best I can figure, this guy Leon was using this rich girl, Pamela, to get money. Then he finally left town, and she died. It's really too confusing. I'm afraid I'll just have to turn the letter in, that's all.
Oh, no. Let's look at it first.
What? Open mail? I'd lose my job, no matter what the letter said.
Well, you can't just give it up.
Oh, I shouldn't even have it now. Just seemed like a challenge to try. But I've done all I can for today. Let's eat dinner. It's 9:30. Time for sleep.
So, what about the letter, dear?
All right. I'll see what I can find out tomorrow. Enough is enough. Let's get some sleep. Okay, Martha?
Right, George. Good night. Oh, my goodness, who on earth could that be?
Hello.
Give the letter to its rightful owner, George. No harm will come to you. But deliver it soon.
Oh.
George, who was it? What's wrong? George?
Is this nocturnal phone call the Moriarty threat, or is it Elroy trying to claim his brother's long-lost paperwork? Perhaps there's someone else who wants the letter, and perhaps George's sense of duty is a bit extreme, just as Elroy warned. We shall expand on all of this in Act 2. Postman George McCready has committed the working man's cardinal sin. He has taken his work home with him. In this case, it's a letter, overdue by 38 years. He won't rest until it's delivered. But should he continue to endure threats, insinuations, even midnight phone calls? For once, perhaps, George may be taking his job too seriously. And that can be dangerous. We join him now as he pays a second visit to the old Moriarty mansion.
Come in.
Hello, Adolph. It's the mailman, George McCready.
Watch it. Don't step on those clippings. I'm sorting through my old scrapbooks.
Well, it looks like the National Archives in here.
So, you've decided to give me that letter after all?
No, quite the opposite. I came to warn you. Lay off the threats and phone calls.
What do you mean?
I got a midnight phone call demanding the letter. Who was it? One of those tough Moriartys you threatened me with?
Oh, believe me, I have contacted no one.
Now listen, Adolph. I was trying to do my job yesterday. Today I'm here on my own to tell you that I intend to turn the letter in.
Oh, no, please, don't do that. If you give it to the authorities, you will be passing up a big opportunity. I'm convinced that it is the key to a large sum of money, and if we can recover it, well, there might be a nice reward.
That would be bribery. You forget, sir, you're dealing with the United States Mail.
Well, maybe if I told you the whole story...
Why should I take your word? You're obviously hiding something.
What about these newspapers? Isn't their word good enough? Look, here, in my scrapbooks, all these clippings about the Moriartys. This book holds 30 years of family history.
And family scandals, no doubt.
Don't judge them so harshly. They didn't ask for fame. Especially little Pamela. She hated the family's reputation. Here she is, age 16, her first debutante ball.
She is striking.
More than striking, she was different. Intelligent.
So, what happened?
This is her engagement photo, 1941. She was set up to marry this banker. That's when she met Leon, who is, as you know, the name on that letter.
So you did know Leon Winters, huh?
Yeah, sure. A nice boy. Only he couldn't show his face around here. He came from the south side.
I know the south side. That's my route.
Then you know the problem. The wrong side of the tracks, as they say. But Pamela loved him all right. And since I was fond of her, I had to meet and...
Like Romeo and Juliet. So what happened? They ran away, right?
Not so fast. Leon would have liked that, but not Pamela. If she were to run away with a poor boy, the family would have disowned her, cut her off without a dime.
Enter the villain. Money.
Well, there was a trust fund in her name, and she wasn't about to let the family get hold of that.
So Leon had to wait around until she was old enough to get the trust fund.
And that's where things began to fall apart. You remember, this was 1941. It was fairly certain that America would soon be at war.
And, Leon will be drafted.
Right. So he was impatient. He wanted Pamela to forget her fortune and marry him. But she just couldn't leave all that money behind.
You mean she said no to him?
She hesitated. But that was enough. The next thing she knew, Leon had joined the Marines.
No, that's too bad. But you still haven't explained why some old love letter could be so important.
Now, be patient. Once Leon went off to war, that's when the scandal, as you call it, began. The shock of his being gone, really gone, brought Pamela to her senses. And so she ran off to join him, with the money.
With what money?
Her trust fund. She met secretly with the family lawyers and convinced them to give her the cash. It was an enormous amount, hundreds of thousands.
She talked the lawyers into
tricked them into it. She was a smart girl. And she packed up, bought a passage to Hawaii, and took off. She probably meant to meet Leon there.
Incredible. She took the money and ran. And then what?
Then... that is the end.
How do you mean?
Her ship went down in the Pacific. They never found her or the money.
Oh, that's terrible. Poor Leon.
Oh, I doubt he ever knew. He died, too, in the war.
So, that was that? Huh?
Except for the money. She left with only one small suitcase, so everyone figured she must have hidden the cash somewhere before she left.
And you figure this letter is the treasure map, telling Leon where the stash is hidden, huh?
See, it must be. No other letter was ever found, no clues. This must be it.
Oh, no wonder Elroy Winters smelled money when I showed him the letter. He's got to be thinking the same thing. And, he is Leon's next of kin.
But you won't find Pamela's next of kin. They're all gone. So I'm next in line. She would have wanted it that way. I was her favorite.
It's not up to us.
Sure it is. We could find that money. Thousands of dollars. You could even have half.
Adolf, bribery is a crime.
Give me the letter. I'm the one she trusted. I had to get away with...
No, put down those scissors. Come and drop them. Now, Adolf, look. If I hear from you one more time, it won't be the post office you're dealing with. It'll be the police.
Hey, you're running late, George. I was just sorting today's mail for you.
Oh, thanks. I had an errand to run. I'd better hit the streets right away.
No, hold on a minute. I wanted to talk to you about that old letter from yesterday.
Well, why not? That's all I've heard about lately. Here, you can give it to the dead letter office.
Oh, trouble?
No real trouble. Tracking down the parties involved has just proved impossible.
Yeah, well, one of those parties actually called up the post office.
Who? When?
Yesterday afternoon. A fellow named Elroy Winters.
Oh, yeah. The brother of the addressee. He was pretty upset that I wouldn't give him the letter.
Well, it's no problem. I told him it was normal for you to try and return it to the sender. What's the big deal with this letter, anyway?
Someone hid some money back then. A lot of money, evidently, and now everyone figures this letter has the key.
Oh, boy.
I started out thinking this would be fun, to show up with a letter 40 years later. I figured I'd be a hero, but now...
Stop worrying, George. It's not that important. I called the main branch in Johnstown this morning, and they said we can give it to the next of kin. And that makes it this Elroy character, right?
Right. Well, I'm glad that's solved.
You want me to hold it until he calls again?
Give it back to me. I'll take it on my route. If he's at the house, I'll hand it over and be done with this mess once and for all. 507 South Market Street. Here we go again. Hey, Elroy, wait. It's me, George McCready. Hold it. Hold it a minute. I need to talk to you. Mr. Winters, you're as white as a sheet. You all right? Say, maybe we should go in the house and talk.
No, we'll talk out here. You may get in the car.
You don't look well. What happened?
I've just spoken to Leon.
What? When?
Just now. In the house. In person.
Oh, you're not suggesting you saw a ghost in that house?
Call it a ghost, a vision, a dream, whatever. I just spoke to my brother.
Well, maybe there's some kids in there. I'll go take a look.
It was Leon. I saw him. He wasn't a day over 20 years old.
Elroy, if this melodrama is an attempt to scare me into giving you the letter, don't bother. I came here to give it to you anyway.
I don't want it.
You don't want it? But it's yours. Pamela's dead and you're Leon's next of kin. You're supposed to have it.
It's Leon's. Give it to him.
Look, Elroy, this is really crazy. Yesterday you wanted this letter so badly you were ready to call a lawyer. Here, will you take the letter? I won't bother you anymore.
Thank you, but no. There's nothing in that letter for me, I know.
Well, then, I'll leave it in the mailbox. You, whoever wants it can pick it up whenever you...
No, you mustn't. You've got to deliver it to Leon himself.
Okay, Elroy, as you wish. The letter goes back to the post office. Martha, I'm home.
Hello, dear. So, did you solve the big mystery?
Not entirely, but it no longer matters. I'm turning the letter into the dead letter office tomorrow, and that'll be the end of it.
Maybe it's just as well. The whole thing sounded a little suspect to me. But just for fun, tell me what you found out today.
And the whole story is one big misconnection. In a nutshell, rich girl Pamela meets poor boy Leon. They fall in love. Leon wants her to elope with him, leave her family and fortune, but she wants to wait until she inherits her trust fund.
How foolish.
Leon goes off to war. Pamela decides to take off after Leon. Only her ship sinks and she dies. Then Leon is killed in the war. Can you believe that?
Oh, what a terrible tragedy. Oh, George, I'm dying to know what's in that letter.
You and everyone else, except Elroy. He sure changed his tune. Thinks he saw his brother's ghost. Wants nothing to do with the letter.
Maybe he's scared.
Well, he sure looked it. But, what makes you say that?
Well, I heard some more haunted house stories. Recent stories. One of the girls from the church circle lives near there.
Oh, no. Here we go with the ghosts and the monsters.
It is a strange house, dear. Nobody ever moves in. And every so often you hear tales. Lights on and off. Old radio music.
It's just kids. Elroy said so himself. Let's forget it. Go to bed. And, take the phone off the hook.
Off the hook? Why? Is there something you haven't told me?
I just don't want any cloak and dagger business tonight. If someone needs to speak to me, they can visit me in my dreams. Good night.
No wonder George wants the phone off the hook. Elroy's sudden change of heart? Martha's haunted house reports? Is this mystery closing in on our postman? Will he make it till morning and be rid of this curse once and for all? We'll find out how it all ends in Act 3. A Hollywood film critic once reviewed a particular comedy with this one-line synopsis. Man returns from the beyond to straighten out his financial affairs. If the plot sounds a little implausible, recall the words of our eternal optimist. It's better late than never. One thing is certain. Both that story and ours raise the same question. Do spirits really lurk about on Earth, finishing up their unfinished business? It seems that George and Martha are about to learn the answer to this and other questions.
I can't sleep.
Me neither. George, can't we read the letter?
No way. I can't do that.
But I can. I won't lose my job.
No.
I'll steam it open. Take a quick peek and seal it right up. No one will ever know.
I can't let you do that.
Oh, fiddlesticks. How about this? The letter is right over there on the bureau. Now, suppose while you're asleep, I go over, pick it up, and just look at it from the outside. Now, is that a crime?
That's okay with me, although I can't imagine what good it would do you.
Good. Oh, my. Well, she really loved him. You can see it in the handwriting.
You should be a palm reader.
This woman's stationery. Practically transparent. All you have to do is hold it up to the light. I'm surprised you haven't done this already. Now, let's see if I hold it up at just the right angle. I can almost...
Can you see any kind of a map in it? A diagram, maybe?
No, they're just words. Dearest Leon...
Martha, I'm not listening.
Dearest Leon, I hope this letter... Oh, my goodness. Oh, George, you've got to read this.
What's wrong?
Nothing's wrong. It's just that... Well, do you want me to tell you or not?
No, never mind. I think you better put it back in my pouch. What's that? I thought you took the phone off the hook.
I did. Maybe it's the phone company.
Don't answer it.
George, you should. It might have something to do with... You know.
Hello.
Hello, George. This is Leon. Leon Winters. Don't you think it's time you delivered my letter? Bring it to my house, 507 South Market Street. Tonight. I'll be here all evening. No harm will come to you, George.
George? Who was that? It was Leon, wasn't it?
It can't be. I don't believe in that stuff.
But who else could call you with the phone off the hook?
It's some sort of trick. Elroy's scare tactics.
What did he say?
They said to deliver the letter tonight to the house.
Let's do it, George. We should. I can feel it.
Well, I can't. I still think it's some kind of trap. What makes you so anxious to send me over there?
Because I know it's all right now.
Why?
I can tell from the letter, from reading it, to trust my intuition.
Oh, I don't want to drive over there at this hour. I can go in the morning.
When it's light, huh? You're scared.
I am not.
Well, come on. Now, let's get dressed. I'll drive you right now. We'll drop it off and be done with it.
Well, okay. Okay, I'll go. But not because of that call. Because I trust your instincts. What are you doing?
I'm turning the engine off while I wait for you.
Oh. Well, I'll just be a second. I'll drop the envelope in the box and come right back.
There are lights on in the house. Now go up to the door, George, and knock.
Maybe I should take a look. Might be some kids in there or vandals.
Good idea.
I'll be right back.
George, now you scared me. Why were you running?
There's a guy inside. A young fella, early 20s, sitting in an old chair. There's a lamp and a table and a fire in the fireplace.
It's him.
But yesterday that place wasn't furnished.
What does he look like?
Dark hair, wavy, a thin mustache, and he's wearing old clothes.
Rags?
No. Some kind of a uniform. Jungle fatigues, like an old war movie.
And he didn't see you?
Of course not.
Well, so go back. Knock on the door, George.
Oh, this is silly.
It's not, dear. He's waiting for you. I know it.
I'll be back in a minute. Well, here goes.
Don't bother to knock, George. Let yourself in. Come over here. By the fire.
Hello, I'm here because...
I know all that.
Who are you? Did Elroy put you up to this elaborate setup, the ghost business and all?
I prefer the word spirit to ghost, Mr. McCready. Here's my identification.
Motor vehicle operator's permit issued to Mr. Leon Winters, August 1940. Where'd you get this?
Little out of date, isn't it? But I really have no need to drive anymore now, do I?
I don't believe this.
You mean you don't believe in me? Isn't that it? You're convinced that a soul can't be trapped here on Earth, restless, waiting for something. But then, why did you come, George?
I came only because my wife talked me into it, because I trust her instincts. Look, let's get this over with. Here's your letter.
At long last. Dearest Leon. Finally. You'll excuse me, George. I'm savoring this moment.
I hope it was worth the wait.
Oh, yes. Very much so. It couldn't be better. You see, George, I had to wait for Pamela's answer. And now that I know what it is, I can finally rest in peace.
I guess I'll go now. My wife's waiting for me in the car.
No, wait. Please stay. I've only got a few minutes left. I can feel myself fading already. I'll soon be no more than a memory.
Is there anything I should do?
Just stay for a minute. It's been a lonely 40 years. Even Elroy was shy about seeing me.
Well, he comes by and checks up on this place pretty regular, no?
That he does. But he hasn't kept the house up all these years just out of sentiment. He's afraid to tear it down, for fear I'll move into his place.
You seem to know what everyone's thinking.
Not everyone. Just those near and dear to me. For example, I knew Pamela's letter was stuck in the mail chute ever since the day it happened.
Well, why didn't you read it back then?
Because a spirit can see a lot of things, but he really can't do much about it. It's sort of like you can't just take your final reward. It has to be given to you.
Well, wait a second. I don't understand. If you knew about the letter the day it was mailed, then you were already...
Dead. That's right.
So you must have known that Pamela was coming to meet you.
Of course. I watched her ship set sail for Hawaii, and I watched it sink to the bottom of the Pacific.
Oh, but couldn't you join her then after she died?
Her spirit didn't linger. She passed on to the next life. She had already made her peace in the letter.
And she left you behind.
Well, I had deserted her in life. I ran away and got myself killed. I robbed her of her dream, of our meeting. So I was doomed to wait until now. It's all kind of hard to explain, but it's really very fair.
Well, that's a comfort. But what about Elroy and Adolph and the money?
Don't worry about Elroy. He's always resented Pamela. He wanted her money as some sort of revenge. And as for Adolph, he was jealous. Remember that he was my age when Pamela ran away. In a way, he lost her to me. So the money seemed like compensation, I suppose.
But they never found any money.
There is no money.
What? Pamela tricked us?
In a way, yes. But you'll understand everything once you've read the letter. Oh, I'm fading away now. Thank you for...
Oh, wait, where are you going? Don't you want to take your letter?
You keep it. I'm leaving the physical world. Goodbye.
Leon? Where are you? Leon, can you hear me?
Have a wonderful life, George. If you need me, you know my forwarding address.
So long, Leon. Hi, honey.
You were in there forever. What on earth happened?
Here. This is for you.
The letter. Well, it's open. Didn't you give it to him?
Of course I did. And after he read it, he gave it back. He doesn't need it anymore.
You mean because he's a ghost?
A spirit, dear.
But what does it say?
I don't know yet. I saved it for you. Go ahead, read it.
Oh, George, I'm so excited. Dearest Leon, I hope this letter finds you well. I love you. The biggest mistake of my life was letting you go. I only wish I had realized that sooner. Smart girl.
Now, keep going, keep going.
But I had to say no to you. Running off to get married would have pleased my family too much. They'd be rid of me and claim my trust fund in the bargain. That's just what they wanted.
That's what everybody wanted, the trust fund.
But now I'm free at last. I've turned my inheritance over to various charities, anonymously.
So, Leon wasn't kidding. There is no money.
Now, this is the part I read through the envelope. And now my answer is yes. I'm on my way to Honolulu. I'll wait there until you can join me. I love you, Leon. I'll wait forever. Yours, Pamela.
Well, like I said, your intuition is never wrong. And now they're together. Thanks to you, Martha.
Thanks to us, George. You did deliver the letter.
Well, you know the saying. Nothing can stay me from my appointed rounds.
With George's sense of duty and Martha's sense of destiny, the letter is finally delivered. We must always be ready to obey our instincts, to follow the irresistible pull of life. And when we do, we may find ourselves doing things we hadn't thought possible. An example when I return shortly. Some say that reality is all in the mind. This point of view can present some unanswerable questions. Did George actually deliver the letter to a spirit? Examine the facts. An off-duty mailman enters an abandoned house late at night. He clutches a 40-year-old piece of mail in his hand, torn open in a moment of emotional stress. Did he tear the envelope himself? Did he imagine the entire drama? To George, it was real. Beyond that, we can never know. Our cast included Ralph Bell, Terry Keane, Bob Caliban, and Ian Martin. This is E.G. Marshall, inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. How does a Mediterranean cruise in the sun sound to you? All expenses paid. Not very sinister? Rather pleasant, eh? That's what you think. For when this cruise is only half finished, I think you'll be ready to abandon ship and take the next plane home. We're on a cruise with Elvira Graham, one of the world's leading fashion designers, her escort, Tony Butler, and her daughter, Marjorie. At the moment, our ship is docked in the Libyan coastal town of Derna. Elvira and Tony have gone sightseeing, trying to find a certain shop they heard about from the ship's captain.
This is so deserted. There can't be any stores down here.
Oh, it's not a very long alley. Let's look. Oh, there's a candle shop.
Would that be it?
Well, there doesn't seem to be anything else.
Elvira, I don't like this. Let's get out of here.
There's nothing to be afraid of.
It's just too strange.
We've gone almost the whole length of the alley, and there's nothing but that candle shop. And that's closed.
Tony, wait. Look up ahead. The alley doesn't end. It makes a turn.
Let's go back. Captain Miller said the store didn't really exist, and I believe him.
We can at least look. Come on. Tony, look! There it is!
Our mystery drama, The Devil's Boutique, was written especially for the Radio Mystery Theater by Bob Jurin and stars Joan Loring and Robert L. Greene. Elvira Graham found the Devil's Boutique, and that was her greatest mistake. She found it on a sunny afternoon in Derna on that Mediterranean cruise. And what happened after that, well, Tony Butler will have to tell us. A year has passed since that fateful afternoon, and at the moment, we're in the office of Lieutenant Morgan, 31st Precinct.
Come in, Mr. Butler. Sit down.
Thanks.
Sergeant McKay says you can identify the body, the lady of the earrings.
Yes.
Oh, good. We'll go right down to the morgue and...
I don't have to see her, Lieutenant. I know who it is.
Well, a viewing is absolutely necessary, but we can do it later. Who is she?
Elvira Graham.
Was she a friend of yours, a relative?
A friend.
Elvira Graham. We put her age at about 50.
If you'd seen her in life, you'd have thought she was 30. But you were close. She was 52.
I'd appreciate your giving us a statement, Mr. Butler. Tell us all you can about her. Cause of death was drowning, no marks on the body. We have it down as suicide, but we still can't rule out murder.
I'll make a statement, but would you do me a favor? Keep it out of the press.
Well, it's already news, Mr. Butler.
I know that. It was the item in the paper that brought me in here.
Ordinarily, when unidentified body floating in the river isn't that much news, but a nude woman in earrings and fantastic lipstick.
That's why I know without the shadow of a doubt it's Elvira Graham. And that's why I wish you could keep what I'm about to tell you out of the papers.
Well, I'll do what I can, Mr. Butler, but well, they don't have to know every detail. We'll have to release her identity, though.
Yes, I see that. A lot of people are wondering what happened to Elvira Graham, and now they'll know. But the woman suffered enough.
Yeah, she won't suffer anymore.
No, I guess not. She was admired, hated, adored, despised, envied.
You say you're a friend. She has no relatives?
Only a daughter. I'm here in her stead.
The daughter's name?
Marjorie.
Marjorie Graham. Well, just relax and tell us all you can about Elvira Graham. I'll ask questions later.
Elvira Graham was a fashion designer. At her peak, the best. And she had a knack of making sure that no one, but no one, ever looked better than Elvira Graham. It was almost a year ago, in June. She just had a showing of her fall line, and she, Marjorie and I, were starting off on a cruise to relax. I was her escort of the moment.
Roger! Bye! Bye! Tell Amy I'll bring her a souvenir from Italy. I said tell Amy I'll bring her...
Can't hear you, Elvira, dear. Just wave.
Oh, bye! Bye! Marjorie, give me a streamer, quick. You've thrown them all, Mother. Oh, it doesn't matter. Come along. Let's go back and finish up that champagne. I think you've had enough, Mother. How many times do I have to tell you, Marjorie? I'll be the judge of that. Oh, I'm exhausted. Pour me one more, Tony. Thank heaven Marjorie's gone to her own cabin. She is so tiresome sometimes. Do you think I've had too much champagne, darling? Be honest.
Well, you do want to look your best at the captain's table tonight.
Sweet, sweet Tony. You have such a knack. For what, I'm not sure yet, but a knack, you're absolutely right.
You drink this. I'm going to take a nap.
I think I'll go up on deck for a while.
Tony,
Hmm.
do you think that dress Charlotte Remsen was wearing made her look slimmer? Maybe a little taller?
Definitely. You designed it that way.
Yes. Made her look almost too attractive, I think. Well, I'm not going to think about work anymore. We're here to relax. Kiss me, Tony. And let Elvira get her beauty rest.
Marjorie, I thought you were in your cabin.
Oh, it's too exciting to stay down there. What's Mother doing?
Napping.
Of course, I needn't have asked.
Marge, why do you stay so close to Elvira? Don't you want a life of your own?
I could ask the same of you, couldn't I?
Touché.
Are you in love with my mother, Tony?
Love? No. And you know she's not in love with me. We are companions. I'm convenient. And vice versa.
The great Elvira Graham. She picks her men the way she picks her wardrobe.
But it's fun while it lasts. Escort to the great Elvira Graham. And all that press doesn't hurt my acting career.
Well, at least you're honest, Tony. Probably the first who was.
Thank you. But you didn't answer my question, and I've answered yours.
Why do I stay so close? I admire her, too. But I love her. So many people are jealous of her, and I feel maybe I'm the one little sincere spot in her life. I don't always agree with her.
And she wants you with her. I know that.
I wondered about that. Why the glamorous Elvira Graham wants her 20-year-old daughter tagging along.
Ever stop to think she loves you?
Yes, I think she does.
And let's face it, you add to her image. Who would believe that anyone as young as Elvira could have a 20-year-old daughter?
I've heard that before. Mother's always been vain. But lately, Tony, it's becoming more of an obsession.
She's the acknowledged queen of fashion. What would you expect?
She's putting it before everything else. She sold her soul to vanity.
Such profundity from one so young.
Don't laugh at me, Tony. I'm worried.
I'm not laughing at you, Marge. But there's nothing we can do about Elvira's personality. We just live with it. Or
what?
Or leave it. And for the moment, it suits me to live with it. Come on. Why don't you take a nap, too? You want to look your best? We're at the captain's table tonight.
How could I forget it? Mother, come in, dear. I just wondered if you were ready to go up for dinner. Tony and I have had a cocktail already.
Yes, just about. But I see you're not Marjorie.
I am. That's why I came by.
But, Marjorie, you're not going to wear that scarf with that dress.
Well, yes, I am.
Oh, no, dear. The dress is chiffon. It looks fine, but you don't cover décolleté as low as that with a scarf. It's ridiculous. Besides, it's the wrong color. It should contrast, if anything.
But I thought it was perfect.
Perfect? Marjorie, I cannot understand how the daughter of Elvira Graham can be so insensitive to style. Doesn't anything rub off?
Mother,
We're dining at the captain's table. It may not mean anything to you, but it does to me.
I disagree with you about the scarf, but I'll give in to your superior judgment.
No, darling, you'll find it's always right. Now, hurry and replace that dreadful scarf with a string of plain, simple pearls, and change your lipstick. It's too bright.
I'll meet you in the dining room.
You do understand. I just want you to look your best. Well, you must always look your best, my dear. But never better than Mother. I've never tasted such wine, Captain.
A very special vintage, saved for very special guests.
Oh, you flatter me, sir.
Have some more, Marjorie?
Oh, no, thank you. I'm fine.
Do, Marjorie. It's bound to improve your disposition.
Just a little. There. Mr. Butler?
Thanks.
This isn't your first cruise, Mrs. Graham.
The first with such a charming captain.
Now, who's flattering?
No, I was quite honored to be asked to your table, Captain.
Oh, my pleasure, Mrs. Graham. I've been admiring those pearls, Miss Graham. Are they natural?
Yes, and matched. Thank you for noticing, Captain.
Stunning.
Really? I always thought Marjorie's neck was too thick for pearls. Mother, a light scarf might have been more suitable, perhaps?
I bow to your expertise, Mrs. Graham, but I do like the pearls.
Thank you, Captain.
As a matter of fact, I know a place you'd both be interested in. Have you ever heard of the Devil's Boutique?
Devil's Boutique? No. Sounds fascinating.
It's a little shop in Derna, on the Libyan coast. I've heard some of my passengers talk about it.
If it's unusual, it's for Elvira.
Apparently, it is unusual, all right. Actually, they tell me the shop itself has no name, and it's very difficult to find, even with directions.
How curious. What do you mean?
Well, I've had passengers tell me about the unusual things they've bought in this shop. Clothes, accessories, scented candles, everything.
Oh, that sounds charming.
But I've had others who claim they've never even been able to find it. That's apparently why it's called the Devil's Boutique.
Elvira will find it.
When will we be in Derna?
In about 9 days.
Oh, there's lots of cruise to enjoy before then.
Yes, our first stop is Cadiz. Then we swing into the Mediterranean.
Oh, well, here's to the Mediterranean. And the Devil's Boutique.
The next few days were filled with sun, shuffleboard, and swimming. Elvira made sure everyone knew Elvira Graham was aboard. She'd spend a half hour deciding on just the right outfit for the time of day she'd make her appearance. Even the shade of her lipstick changed. One color for morning, another for cocktails. We stopped for a day at Cadiz and then slipped into the Mediterranean.
There it is, on the horizon.
Derna.
We'll dock in about 2 hours.
How long will we be there, Captain?
We'll leave with tonight's tide, about 7 o'clock.
Good. We'll have all afternoon for sightseeing.
You'll excuse me, I have to get to the bridge.
Certainly.
I have such a strange excitement about this city, Tony. There's something about the name, Derna. And the challenge of finding that fascinating shop.
And this was supposed to be a non-work vacation?
There's no such thing for me, and you know it. If I don't keep ahead of the pack, well, besides, it's fun. We'll sightsee in Derna, and I won't leave until I find that Devil's Boutique.
I can tell you one thing. You wouldn't catch me going near a place with a name like that. And I certainly wouldn't go out of my way to find it. But then, for a woman as vain and determined as Elvira Graham, it might be just the place. Vanity, like love, is blind. And Elvira has no inkling of the strange fate that awaits her in the Devil's Boutique. Most women are particular about their appearance, which everyone should be. But with some, it becomes an obsession. Elvira Graham was pushed by an ego that demanded to be first, pulled by a vanity that demanded most of her attention. And both were responsible for her downfall.
Marjorie, why aren't you dressed? We're going ashore.
I'm not going, Mother. I feel like staying on the ship.
Well, do as you like. Tony and I are going into town and find that shop the captain told us about.
You go ahead. I'll be all right. I just don't feel like going.
This is exciting. I've never seen a place like this.
I wish we knew where we were going.
The captain said follow the main street to the water well and then take the first alley on the right.
If it's that simple, how come some people couldn't find it?
They didn't want to find it badly enough. Come along, Tony.
Why don't we just stroll and enjoy the sights on the way?
Time for that later. Here's the alley. First right after the well.
You're going down there?
Of course.
This is so deserted. There can't be any stores down here.
Oh, it's not a very long alley. Let's look. There's a candle shop.
Would that be it?
Well, it doesn't seem to be anything else.
Elvira, I don't like this. Let's get out of here.
Well, there's nothing to be afraid of.
It's just too strange. There's nothing but that candle shop, and that's closed.
Oh, well, maybe we could knock and ask. Somebody might be in the back.
I think we'd better get out of here.
Oh, I hate to just... Wait, Tony, look. Up ahead. The alley doesn't end, it makes a turn.
Let's go back.
But we can at least look.
This is crazy. There wouldn't be a store hidden back there.
Captain Miller said it was hard to find, and it's probably worth it.
I can't imagine why.
Tony, look! There it is!
There it was, just ahead of us. The windows of a quaint boutique, dimly lighted, and in the window, belts, dresses, slacks, scarves, accessories, beads. Elvira literally jumped with joy.
Tony, we found it. And it's open. Come on. Oh, look at the things in this window. Tony, that belt.
It is different.
It's fabulous. I could design a whole suit around that. Let's go in.
The captain was right. There's no name on it.
There weren't on any of the shops in the main street either. Here it doesn't seem to matter. Fabulous. Just fabulous.
Doesn't seem to be anyone around.
I just want to browse anyway. Look at this jacket. There's not a seam in it. How do you suppose...
Madame likes the jacket?
Oh, yes. It is stunning.
One of my favorite creations.
You're certainly original. I've never seen styles even resembling these before.
No, I'm not copied. Everything here is quite original.
Mrs. Graham is a designer herself. She knows how to judge quality.
Yes, Elvira Graham. I am honored.
You know me.
Anyone remotely concerned with fashion knows Elvira Graham.
Oh.
Is that not so?
Well, yes, but I never thought here.
You didn't think that in such a humble, out-of-the-way shop, one would have heard of you?
Well, frankly, no.
I keep up with things, huh?
And you are...
My name is Arch.
You don't mind if I look around?
That is what my shop is here for, Mrs. Graham. If I can be of service, just call me. I will be in the back.
Oh, I stumbled onto a gold mine.
What do you mean?
Why, these styles. The man is a genius. But how many people know about him? No one who matters.
So?
None of this stuff has hit the market yet, and I'm going to introduce it.
You can't take it all back with you, dear.
Yes, I can. In my sketchbook. Tony, darling, you're looking at Elvira Graham's newest collection.
You're going to pass the stuff off as your own?
Of course. Who's going to know the difference?
You have found something to your liking?
Everything. It's impossible to choose. I'd like to bring my daughter back to see your place.
I would be honored.
We're sailing on the Lady Madison. I'm going back to the ship and get her. You'll be open all afternoon?
Certainly.
Come, Tony. I can't wait to see Marjorie's reaction to this place.
Why all the fuss about Marjorie?
I want Marjorie to come back with us so the two of you can distract him while I copy.
You think he's not going to notice you in your sketchbook?
Not if you and Marjorie help. She'll know how to keep him busy. Mother, this is unbelievable. I told you it was sensational. I just wish there were other customers around. Now, you know what to do, Marjorie. Yes. I don't really approve. But I'll do it.
What'll I do?
You stay with me, Tony. You can cover me.
Mrs. Graham, you did return.
Yes. This is my daughter, Marjorie.
I am charmed, Miss Graham.
How do you do? This is Mr. Art, the fabulous designer. Marjorie's interested in a pantsuit.
She wants to try on a few things. Tony and I'll just browse.
As you wish. This way, Miss Graham. I have a few styles here I think might interest you.
Oh, just stand close, Tony. We'll pretend we're looking closely at these things, and I'll get my sketches. Well, Marjorie, did you find something you liked?
I'm taking this blouse. I decided against a suit.
Oh, it's very attractive. Well, we must be on our way. We're sailing this evening.
Mrs. Graham? Did you get all the sketches you need?
I did jot down an idea or two. I hope you don't mind. I mean, imitation is the highest form of flattery or whatever.
Is that exactly ethical?
Oh, Mother.
Well, perhaps not, Mr. Arch. I shall tear them up if you feel that way.
No. I didn't say I minded.
Perhaps we should leave. Tony, Marjorie.
One moment, Mrs. Graham.
Yes?
Please, no hard feelings. I should not have mentioned the subject. After all, I am flattered by your very presence. The great Elvira Graham in my humble shop, huh? Would you accept the token of admiration?
I don't quite understand.
Have you ever seen anything as exquisite as this?
Mother, how beautiful.
Wow.
Oh, they are expensive earrings, but surely you're not suggesting
you
that
would honor me by accepting them.
This is most extraordinary and generous, Mr. Arch, but I don't see how I could possibly.
You do me a disservice, Mrs. Graham. I insist.
Go ahead, Elvira. It's an unusual gesture.
Well, thank you.
I wrapped them for you. I'll be right back.
You ought to accept a kindness with a little more grace, Elvira.
But he took me so by surprise. I mean, right on the heels of accusing me of spying.
He didn't exactly accuse, Mother.
Well, I don't embarrass easily, but that was one of the times.
Shh. Here he comes.
Well, here you are, Mrs. Graham. There is no one on whom they will look better. Good day, Mrs. Graham, and bon voyage.
It was late afternoon when we got back to the ship. Marjorie went to her stateroom to dress for dinner. And Elvira stored her sketches in a secret compartment of her trunk.
I'm not taking any chances with those, Tony. They are priceless.
Speaking of priceless, let's see the earrings.
Oh, yes. Here they are, in my purse. I'm so taken up with the sketches, I'd almost forgotten them. I still don't understand his generosity. Oh, but they are beautiful. Well, what's this?
Anything wrong?
Packed with the earrings. It's a lipstick.
So?
Oh, nothing, really. He just didn't mention it.
Let's see the earrings.
They are extraordinary, aren't they? They seem even more brilliant than they did in the shop.
Why don't you wear them at dinner tonight?
I intend to. Curious about the lipstick, though. I wonder why he didn't mention it.
Almost ready, Elvira. It's 8 o'clock.
We'll be out in a minute. Is Marjorie there yet?
She just arrived.
I won't be long.
She wants us to get the full effect all at once.
The earrings. She's wearing them at dinner tonight?
And the lipstick.
The lipstick?
The shopkeeper at that boutique slipped in a lipstick with the earrings. It seems to match the color of the stones.
Well?
Elvira.
Oh, Mother. They're breathtaking.
They are striking, Elvira.
The lipstick is perfect, isn't it?
It lights up your whole face. It's almost uncanny.
I've never seen you quite so radiant, darling.
Watch out, you two. You'll turn my head.
That has been done by experts.
Oh, you're dreadful, Tony. Come on. Let's go to dinner.
You're turning heads, darling. Everyone's looking at you.
Oh? I hadn't noticed.
Oh, Mrs. Graham. Good evening. Miss Graham, Mr. Butler. How did you enjoy Derna?
Captain Miller, I owe you a million thanks. I found that boutique.
And you liked it?
It is fabulous. It's going to do great things for me. Do you like my earrings, Captain?
Magnificent.
I got them at the boutique.
Most unusual.
The man at the shop gave them to Mother.
They're most becoming, Mrs. Graham. Shall we sit down? The steward's ready with the consomme.
Oh, yes, dinner, of course. Oh, Tony, it's been the gayest night since we left New York. I think I danced with every man in the room.
Almost.
Almost?
Everyone but me.
Oh, but... Well, you hate dancing.
You could have sat one out.
Be a dear and unzip me. I want to get comfortable and have a last champagne. Here, alone with you. Tony, darling. Damn. Help me with this earring, Tony. I can't get it off.
Let's see.
Just clips on. It ought to open up.
It won't open.
Oh, try the other one.
I can't budge this one either.
Well, this is ridiculous. It's just a little spring. Pull harder. Ow.
Sorry, darling.
Well, never mind. I'll get them off in the morning. I'm too tired to care. I'm going to bed. Don't wake me tomorrow, Tony. I feel as though I could sleep for a week.
Good morning, darling.
It's morning already. Oh, I must look a sight. Hand me that cold cream, dear.
Here you are.
Oh, I must have been tired last night to leave this lipstick on.
You were quite the belle of the ball, you know.
You don't mind.
The price I pay for escorting the Elvira Graham.
Oh.
What's the matter?
Tony, my lips. The lipstick isn't coming off.
What?
I can't seem to remove this lipstick. I mean, cold cream always takes it right off.
Rub harder.
It just doesn't seem to work.
The earrings. Now the lipstick.
The earrings.
Last night, we couldn't get the earrings off.
Oh, I remember now. They're still on. Yes. I can't open the clasp.
I didn't have any luck with them last night either.
Try again, Tony. Try.
Okay. It's crazy. It's just a little spring, but I can't open it.
Oh, you've got to, Tony. I've got to get these off.
I told you I wouldn't go near a place with a name like the Devil's Boutique. You never know what you're in for. The earrings and lipstick the little shopkeeper gave Elvira were beautiful, all right. And she was immediately attached to them, wouldn't you say? We'll see what happens next when I return shortly with Act 3. Let's return now to the stateroom where Elvira Graham can't seem to remove her lipstick or her earrings. 2 items she was given by the proprietor of that quaint little shop in Derna. You know, the one with that odd name.
I've got to get them off, Tony. I can't be seen in the morning wearing these, or this lipstick either. It's just not done.
Relax, Elvira. We'll get them off. Just sit still while I...
Oh, there's no use trying that again. Maybe you could get some kind of tool, something to pry them loose.
Where?
Well, ask the captain. Oh, no, wait, don't. He'd think it's odd.
No different from what I'm thinking.
Mother, Tony, going up for breakfast? Mother, you're still wearing the earrings.
Yes.
Well, do you think they're quite the thing for morning?
Well, of course not. But I'm having a little trouble getting them off.
Want me to try?
Well, you might as well. Tony and I haven't had any luck. Tony, maybe we ought to try and get a tool. Don't ask the captain. Try the purser or someone.
Oh, I've never seen it clasped so tight.
That's not the half of it.
What do you mean?
I can't get the lipstick off either.
We tried everything. Cold cream and even alcohol on the lipstick. Wire cutters we got from the engine room on the earrings. But nothing would take away the color from Elvira's lips or those dazzling earrings from her ears. The metal clasps seemed impervious to the shears. Evening finally came, and Elvira decided she could put in an appearance for dinner. The lipstick and the earrings were appropriate after 6. Relax, darling. You're still the center of all eyes.
Oh, Mrs. Graham, you're wearing those becoming earrings from the shop in Derna. They're quite extraordinary.
They are indeed.
We're having a piano recital tonight after dinner. I hope you're all planning to join us.
We wouldn't miss it.
In the lounge at 9.
We never made the recital. On the way from the dining room, something happened that set Elvira off.
Mother, what is it? Stupid little trap.
Calm down, Elvira.
Didn't either of you hear that woman as we were leaving dinner? No. You didn't? You didn't hear her say, how gosh, those earrings again.
To you?
No, to our whole table. I wish I'd slapped her face. Well, I can't leave the stateroom again, not until I find some way of getting these hateful things off.
Maybe the man in the shop who gave them to you can help.
Go all the way back to Derna. There's got to be an easier way.
Well, you haven't come up with it. Maybe Marjorie has an idea. I'm going back to Derna. We'll fly from the next port at which we stop.
Elvira, be reasonable. We can't...
Reasonable? There's no reason to this whole mad thing. Marjorie, you go on with the cruise. Tony and I will go back to Derna and then meet you in New York.
Oh, no, I'm staying with you.
Oh, do as you like. I'm too upset to argue. Tony, see the purser or the captain or someone and see what arrangements we can make. There's the window. And I remember that carpet shop across the square. The alley should be just ahead.
I hope he can help after what it took to get back here.
Oh.
We've been on everything but a camel.
That's the alley we went down, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Come on. This is it. There's that candle shop.
Still closed.
Doesn't look as though it's ever been opened.
Tony?
Yes, I see. That's strange.
The alley ends in a wall.
But it turned off to the left the last time we were here. That's where the shop was.
An absolutely dead end. How could they have put up a wall? We were here only 3 days ago.
This isn't a new wall, Elvira. Look at it.
What?
It's hundreds of years old.
But this is the alley we came down, and it branched off, and we found the shop. I wasn't dreaming. You were both with me.
Tony, this is frightening.
Well, there's another way in, another alley. I've got to find that shop. I've got to find it.
Come on, Marjorie, be quick.
Which way did she go?
I don't know.
Oh, she's disappeared in the crowd.
Stay close to me.
The street's so crowded we can't go fast enough. Oh, Tony, what are we going to do?
We pushed through the crowded streets, and finally, after more than half an hour, we found Elvira.
Mother!
Marjorie! Tony, thank heavens I didn't know where to look for you.
Elvira, get a hold of yourself.
I've asked everyone I could find who spoke any English at all. No one, absolutely no one, ever heard of the shop.
The only thing left to do was to go back to New York. We returned home, and Elvira went into hiding. Of course, everyone assumed we were still on the cruise, so no one called. But Elvira was getting more desperate.
A plastic surgeon's my only hope.
A friend of mine had some work done about a year ago. I could find out the name of his man.
Oh, do it, Tony. Do it today.
Now, Mrs. Graham, Mr. Butler, come in.
Thank you, Doctor.
You're a friend of Charlie Porter's.
Yes, we've done some shows together.
Well, now, how can I help you, Mrs. Graham?
This lipstick I'm wearing.
Yes?
I can't get it off. Nothing works, so don't ask me how many things I've tried. I wouldn't be here if anything had helped.
Oh, well, let me see. I'm just going to scrape your lower lip a little. It won't hurt. Yes, the color's embedded in the lip tissue. Seems to be a dye.
Is there anything you can do?
Well, I could try a bleach. It would be uncomfortable for a week or so, but probably effective.
Do it. I'll do anything to get out of this clown makeup, but that's only part of my problem.
There's more.
Take my bandana, Tony. Those earrings, Doctor. They won't come off either. They're clasped completely around my earlobe.
How long have you had this condition?
It's been almost a month.
I got the earrings and lipstick in a little shop in Libya, and frankly, they are bewitched. I know that now.
Hold still a moment. Yes, the lobes are beginning to swell.
We'll have to work on this. Well, I'm sorry, Mrs. Graham. I'm at a loss to know what to do with these.
Oh.
Have you tried...
A machine shop, an auto garage, everything but an acetylene torch.
I must admit I've never seen anything like it.
No one has.
Well, Doctor.
Well, I shall give you the bleach for your lips, apply it twice a day, and then I'll see you again in a week.
Well, and the earrings.
You have to give them some very serious thought, Mrs. Graham. There seems to be nothing I can do, short of removing your earlobes.
Mother, please answer me. Leave me alone, Marjorie.
What's the matter, Marjorie?
Oh, Tony, thank God you're here. Mother won't come out of her room. She locked herself in hours ago.
There's no harm in that. She's going through hell.
But I want to help her.
You can't help her. All we can do is to be here if she wants us. If she wants to be alone, let her.
That bleach isn't helping her lips. It just makes it harder for her to talk. They're as bright as ever. This morning she came out for breakfast. Tony, I nearly fainted.
I know. She's not a pretty sight.
Her face is so white and lined. Those colors just scream at you.
I thought I heard you, Tony. Where have you been?
Down at the docks. The ship came in this morning. I went to claim our trunks.
Oh, of course, the luggage we left on board when we flew back. I've never given it a thought. Was everything there?
Everything. And everyone.
Everyone?
A welcome home party.
Oh, no.
About 20.
Oh.
They assumed we were still on the cruise.
Oh, Lord, Tony. What did you tell them?
That you and Marjorie stayed on in Nice.
Oh, that's good. Good thinking, Tony. No one will be calling up here.
Oh, here are the trunks. Just put them anywhere for now.
There's the one I'm interested in.
Here you are. And this is for you.
Oh, yes, I'd almost forgotten.
What are you doing, Mother?
My sketches. I may be in hibernation, but Elvira Graham isn't through yet. I'll fix that demon. Oh, yes, here they are.
What is it, Elvira?
Oh. Oh, no. No.
Mother?
What the... No wonder.
Tony, they're blank. Absolutely blank.
Elvira, please.
Mother!
You saw them. Blank. Every last page blank. He's cursed me.
Elvira, come sit down.
Why? What did I do to be cursed like this?
Elvira, time can...
No. Don't feed me any more of your stupid encouragement. What's the matter with you? Look at me. Clown. Freak.
Tony, I can't stand this. I've got to leave.
Stay, dear little daughter.
Elvira.
Dear, pretty light of my life. Your beauty won't change your freshness. But just look at your glamorous mother. Look, damn you. I've been damned. For what? Why? Is the answer to that in heaven? In hell? Ah, yes, hell, where that demon came from. That demon who gave me this beauty. The devil himself in his quaint little boutique. The devil's boutique be damned. The devil himself be damned along with me. What did I do? Did I worship beauty too much?
Elvira never spoke another word after that. She returned to her room, stayed there, night and day, and 3 days later she was gone.
Gone?
She'd vanished.
You tried to find her?
Oh, yes. We hired a private detective. We didn't want it in the papers or in the police files. After about 6 months, we gave up.
Where do you suppose she's been all this time?
Wandering, hiding. I don't know.
Well, will you look at her body now?
If you insist.
I must. Well, it was quite quite a story, Mr. Butler. You a writer?
You don't believe it?
I don't know whether I do or not. It's too fantastic to be true. Then again, it's too fantastic to be made up. Well, here we are. There she...
Oh, no.
What the devil? The earrings are gone.
And the lipstick. Now, do you believe me?
Dear Elvira, you were beautiful, determined, and the world's best designer. You were on your way to becoming the greatest. But be reasonable, Elvira, and look at it this way. There wasn't room for the two of us.
There's nothing wrong in being beautiful to other people. It's when we start becoming beautiful to ourselves that we're in for trouble. Elvira's life wasn't a total loss. Considering her personality, she ended up in pretty good company. I'll be back shortly. I hope you won't think unkindly about the fashion world because of our play. Those worthy institutions strive to keep us looking our best and do a wonderful job of it. Where would we be without them? In jail for indecent exposure, no doubt. But I would like to leave you with a friendly suggestion. The next time you buy a lipstick, jewelry, a garment, be sure there's a label on it. Be safe. Know your designer. Our cast included Joan Loring, Robert L. Greene, Jada Rowland, Bob Caliban, and Ian Martin. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
Can hear the difference. Bright and beautiful music. KIXI, Seattle.
CBS News. A new deal has been worked out to free about 50 hostages being held in Malaysia. This is Doug Poling reporting on the CBS radio network. An airliner is due to leave Tokyo any time now. There is one late report which says it has left about 12 minutes ago. It's supposed to be carrying 5 Japanese terrorists who had been held in jail. Their freedom has been demanded by some of their comrades who stormed a building in Kuala Lumpur Monday. They took about 50 hostages, including Robert Stebbins, the American consul. Throughout the day, officials back in Japan talked about what to do. The demand was for 7 guerrillas to be flown to Malaysia, but 2 of them refused to go. A stalemate went on for several hours. Then the gunmen in Malaysia said they would accept just the 5 Red Army members. They threatened to kill their hostages and blow up the building if the demand was not met. President Ford arrived back in Washington late Monday night. He said he was very encouraged and optimistic over the results of his trip to Europe. In 10 days, the president was in 5 countries. The mission included a summit in Finland and the signing of new accords on European security. Some thoughts on the trip from CBS White House correspondent Robert Pierpoint.
For Gerald Ford, this trip really was necessary. Whatever was actually accomplished at Helsinki, this president was required to go by the logic of history. Along with the presidency, he inherited the trip from Richard Nixon. Long before Gerald Ford had ever given a thought to the Helsinki Agreement, or even to taking over the White House, Richard Nixon and Henry Kissinger had decided that Helsinki was another step in a twisting road toward peace. Rightly or wrongly, they had decided that the four-power agreement on Berlin of 1971, the decision by nations of East and West to discuss a mutual reduction of armed forces in Europe, the attempt to negotiate limitations on the uses of nuclear weapons, all the steps included in that vague French word détente were related in what Kissinger called linkage. When Gerald Ford assumed the presidency, Kissinger convinced him that to break this chain of small links toward a large goal would be tragic, would tilt the world toward despair, frustration, even war. So President Ford felt he could not say no. Robert Pierpoint, CBS News, with the president.
Israel has announced a commando raid into Lebanon. Authorities in Tel Aviv say a number of terrorists were killed or injured and arms emplacements blown up when Israeli troops raided an Arab guerrilla camp near Tyre in southern Lebanon. The announcement came about 24 hours after guerrillas tried to stage a raid into northern Israel. One guerrilla and one Israeli were killed in that exchange. Tuesday is election day for Democrats in Mississippi. There are 6 candidates in a primary for the governorship. Considered the front runner is Lieutenant Governor William Winter. Senator Birch Bayh of Indiana appears to be looking toward the Democratic presidential nomination. Bayh says a committee is being set up on his behalf to determine whether he should become a candidate. In 1972, Bayh dropped out of the race when it was revealed that his wife had cancer. She underwent surgery and recovered. The Federal Energy Administration reported Monday that price hikes during July pushed up the cost of a gallon of gasoline to a national average of 58.7 cents a gallon. That's 3.1 cents higher than in June. Now this.
Want to play McDonald's French fry word game?
Huh? Don't be shy. Give it a try. Think of a word.
Put in a fry.
What do you call a French fry with handlebars?
A frycicle.
Don't be a frighty cat. You fry it. If at first you don't succeed, fry again.
Fry in the sky.
Ah.
Okay. What's big and has 4 legs and a huge French fry at the end of its nose?
A rhinoceros.
Let's simplify things.
When a French fry nut is really hungry, what does he do? Get a large order of McDonald's world-famous fries.
You know what they're famous for? What is the best French fries in town?
Get the large order of McDonald's fries. Hot, crisp, golden, and delicious. They're fritastic.
You're why the quality's high, 'cause you deserve a break today. At McDonald's, we do it all for you. At McDonald's.
In New York, a Jewish organization says it's decided to press for the excommunication of Secretary of State Kissinger from Judaism. The Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Activist Organizations describes Kissinger as the greatest threat to millions of Jews since the days of World War II. Officials did not specify their differences with Kissinger, but it's thought the activists are angry at Kissinger's effort to get Israel to give up territory it holds in the Middle East. Doug Poling, CBS News.
Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. So often we take the course of our daily lives for granted. So many of us live in a routine world, knowing pretty much one day what we'll be doing the next. And this isn't bad, mind you. But every now and then, something stops us short. Witnessing a dramatic auto accident, seeing a building collapse in flames. Well, our story isn't about such disasters, but Doug Watson, our hero, is in for what we might call the shock of his life. Our mystery drama, The Outsider, was written especially for the Radio Mystery Theater by Bob Jurin and stars John Beal. Reality is a curious thing.
is so relative. To a child alone in bed at night, moving shadows can be real monsters, very real. Dreams are real until we wake up. What we experience is real to us. And to Doug Watson, his experience was real. It could have been a dream, but Doug doesn't think so. In fact, he knows differently.
I sit here with this curious stone in my hand, unbelieving, smooth as polished marble, still warm, blue, and lustrous. I know where I got it, but I still can't understand or believe. What happened to me? Was I permitted a glimpse of something no man should know? Did I look into a world of my own hallucination? Hallucination, I could accept that. But this stone in my hand is real. It must have happened. And it had to have been this evening. But it seems so long ago. I was on my regular commuter train going home. I had pressing work to do, but Lloyd Cox had already spotted me.
Playing in the tournament Sunday, Doug?
No, I'll be spending the weekend in the den. Semi-annual report to finish.
You'd better not skip Millie's buffet Sunday night. She'll never forgive you.
Alice mentioned something about that. Well, we'll see. Well, Sunday's my birthday.
Yeah, we know. That's why Millie particularly wants you there.
I'm trying to forget the years. I stopped counting 3 years ago.
It happens to all of us. Well, my stop's coming up. Take care, Doug. And don't work too hard. See you Sunday night.
Yeah, see you, Lloyd. I still had 3 more stops to go. I opened my attaché case and took out the forecast I'd been working on. I lost myself in a maze of profit expectations, cost factors, personnel demands, and federal regulations. And after a while, something in the back of my mind broke my concentration, and I looked up. I got the shock of my life. The entire car was empty. Not another soul in the car. Ordinarily, 20 or so people are still on the train when I get off. How far had I come? I slammed my case shut and ran to the front of the car. Looking through the door into the next car gave me the next shock. It was empty, too. The entire train was empty. There wasn't even a conductor on it. We were coming to the lights of a town. I had no idea where I was. I had to get off and phone Alice to come pick me up. Stupid of me to work right past my stop. I jumped onto the platform. The station house was dark and locked. I couldn't place this town at all. I didn't know much about the villages past my own stop, so I walked toward a lighted diner and went in to phone Alice. And that's when I got my third shock of the night. A woman was behind the counter drying dishes, and she turned toward me.
You? Oh, no, I can't believe it. How did you get here? Oh, let me touch you. Let me know you're real. You're here. You are real.
Look, miss, I just want to use the phone. You do have...
I've got to call Walter right away. Oh, sit down. And please don't go away. You won't go away, will you?
Well, I can't very well go anywhere. I just got off the train. I missed my regular stop in Bloomsdale.
Bloomsdale?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there used to be a Bloomsdale. Oh, but never mind that now. I've got to call Walter.
Well, then, can I call my home? I'll pay you for the call.
Only local calls. It's because... Walter? Walter! He's here. At last. On the train, he says. Yes, this very minute. Of course, I'm sure. I touched him. It's the outsider.
I had to get out of there. Obviously, this girl was deranged in some way. And I had no intention of waiting for Walter, whoever he was. But I did have to phone Alice.
Walter will be here in a minute. He only lives half a block up Turtle Street.
May I use the phone now? Or a payphone if you have one.
Let me look at you. Oh, let me touch you again.
Now look, miss. I don't know what bothers you about me, but all I want to do is call my wife and have her pick me up. What town is this, anyway?
Hanover Hills.
Hanover Hills? In Westchester?
Oh, I just can't believe it. You're here at last. You were the first outsider to come here in 30 years. Oh, we've been praying and waiting for you.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, you don't believe me. You'll believe Walter. He's the mayor.
Gail, you're the one we hoped for? You're right. It's him.
What is this?
Let me shake your hand, sir. I'm Walter Cummings, mayor of Hanover Hills. And you are,
Doug Watson.
Doug Watson. Oh, how refreshing to hear a new name. Oh, wait till the town hears this and meets you. Now, tell me. Gail says you came in on the train.
Of course.
The train actually stopped?
Well, I didn't jump off.
And this was a few minutes ago?
Yes.
Oh, this is wonderful. This may be the break. You see, no one in Hanover Hills could hear or see the train. There hasn't been a train go through here in 30 years. You, Doug Watson, are our savior.
I was now convinced that I'd met up with two genuine lunatics. I started edging for the door, thinking I could either find the police station and some real help or at least get away.
Oh, no, you cannot go, sir. You will accept my hospitality and come home with me for a celebration. Gail, close up and spread the word.
Well, thank you very much for your kind invitation, but I really have to get home. I've work to do, and it's getting late. My wife's going to be worried.
Oh, yes. Yes, by all means, call your wife. Let's see if it works. Gail, this will be the first test of the outsider's power. Here, sir. Call your wife.
Thank you. At last. I can dial Bloomsdale, can't I?
Try it. Keep your fingers crossed. Is it ringing?
No. Nothing.
Oh.
Like a dead line. Okay, you win. Tell me what this is all about. Am I a prisoner?
We're all prisoners here, Mr. Watson. And we believe you've come here to save us. Come home with me now. You can't go anywhere else.
Curiously, now I didn't feel menaced. I had a slow, creeping sensation that these people were serious and sincere, and that I had stumbled into something totally incredible. It hadn't occurred to me before how old-fashioned the lunch counter and counter stools in this diner were. Not one item smacked of the 1970s or 80s.
We'll have a bite of dinner before the others arrive, and I'll tell you why we have such hopes for you, and what we expect of you. More coffee?
Oh, thanks.
You see, Doug, for 30 years, not a living soul, not a car, truck, train, or bus has arrived in Hanover Hills. No one has grown a day older. No one's died. Not a single child has been born.
I just can't figure you, or this whole thing. How can you expect me to believe what you just said?
We found it hard to believe ourselves when it happened. In fact, we didn't realize that anything had happened.
Well, what was it that happened, as you say?
It was early in 1950. The government was involved in underground nuclear testing, but far, far away over in Nevada.
Yes, I remember.
But one afternoon in June, we felt a terrible rumbling underground. The hills all around us shook.
Earthquake?
Well, it was just like one. But never in history had there been one here. When it settled, we saw on the highest of the hills a great fissure, a hole in the side of the hill. And from it came a curious vapor.
Underground gas, no doubt.
We have no idea what it is.
Is? You mean it's still there?
You'll see it tomorrow. It's been emerging for 30 years. And you'll see more things tomorrow that I think will surprise you. Things we've grown accustomed to.
Well, you say that I'm the first outsider to come here, but why can't you leave? Can't you simply walk down the road a piece?
I hear the word has spread. They're gathering outside.
Who?
The townspeople.
The street's full. all, Walter, and more coming.
Yeah. You'll have to meet them, Doug.
I know. I'm the savior.
I think they're all getting heated up over nothing.
Russ. Oh, this is my husband, Mr. Watson. Russ Harrison.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Russ, be civil.
Here, follow me, please. They won't hurt you. Why, you're our hero.
I've never been a celebrity before.
Please? Please, quiet, everyone. Quiet down. Now, I know you've come to see the outsider, and, well, here he is, in the flesh. Real. His name is Douglas Watson. His arrival may mean we're returning to the world. Now, I say may because we must not get up false hopes.
He's the first outsider, isn't he? It means we're finished with this thing?
Well, that's possible. And we all want to believe it. But we'll just have to see what happens.
How about a word from you, Mr. Watson?
Yes, speak to them, please.
I don't know what to tell any of you. I don't understand this any more than you do. Maybe a lot less. I got off a train, and here I am. Your mayor here, Walter, was explaining something to me earlier, but I don't know the whole story. Well, that's about all I can say.
All right, friends. You can go home now. Mr. Watson and I have some work to do, but as soon as we see positive results, you'll all know it. You'll see it and feel it.
Is there anything Russ and I can do, Walter?
No, why don't you run along, too? Mr. Watson, you'll stay here with me tonight. I have plenty of bedrooms.
Good night, Walter. Mr. Watson. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.
Good night. You know, I was going to ask you, why can't you just leave? There are roads in and out of town, aren't there?
Yes.
Well, hasn't anyone tried to go to the next town? Call people up on the phone?
Of course.
And what happened?
You'll find out tomorrow, Doug. Tomorrow, when it's daylight, I'll take you around Hanover Hills.
But what about my wife? She'll be frantic if I don't even call.
Yes, that's unfortunate, but I'm afraid you can't call her. Our phone makes local calls only. We've never been able to dial a number outside the town. Nor have we ever had a call come in. You saw what happened when you tried to call from the diner.
Yeah, well, I'll have to go along with it, I guess.
But be encouraged, as we all are. You'll undoubtedly be back with your wife again, as soon as we rejoin the outside world.
When will that be?
We don't know. As soon as you help us to do so.
And just how am I supposed to do that?
Well, we assume you know. You came to us through this terrible invisible curtain that surrounds us. We're expecting you to lead us out.
Watson seems to have become the unwitting Pied Piper of Hanover Hills, a village caught in a strange and incredible time warp into which he stumbled. They're all expecting him to bring them back to the outside world. But I wonder if they really know what they're letting themselves in for. Of course, we haven't seen all of Hanover Hills yet, and we haven't really met its citizens. We'll do both when I return shortly with Act 2. Time now to return to Hanover Hills, that curious town that claims to have lived in suspended animation for 30 years. I'd say Doug Watson has a tall order in front of him if he expects to unlock the secret of the mysterious force that gripped the town. But the human spirit will rise when challenged and meet the unavoidable obligation. After all, Doug has no choice.
Oh, good morning. Trust you slept well?
Yeah. Much to my surprise, with all this on my mind.
It's a beautiful day. Perfect for showing you Hanover Hills.
Well, I'll have to admit I am curious. I just wish you wouldn't expect too much of me. I haven't the slightest idea what to do.
We'll have breakfast at Russ and Gail's diner. Then we'll be on our rounds.
Your car's in fantastic shape for a 49. How do you do it?
It's never changed. Nothing's ever worn out. Nothing ever does in Hanover Hills. Oh, I polish it regularly, though.
Well, what about gas and oil? You said no trucks have ever come in here. Where do you get it?
Pumps are always full. Ed Hanley runs a filling station. Oil and gas are always there. We gave up questioning it long ago.
And electricity and water.
Abundant supply.
Well, what about food?
Fields are always full of fresh vegetables. In summer, of course. The shelves at the supermarket never go empty. Nor the meat freezers.
And you want to change all this? It's utopia.
Not really, Doug. You'll soon see.
Is that the vapor you're talking about up there on the hill?
That's it. It's much farther away than it looks. It comes from that black hole in the side of the rock. Like a deep wisp of steam. Disappears into the air.
Well, like I started to say last night, can't you just take the main road out of town?
Rather than tell you what happens, I'll show you. We're now on Route 52. Runs north and south, supposedly to New York City.
Right. I take it into the city myself from Bloomsdale. In fact, if we keep going south, we should come right into Bloomsdale.
Look up ahead. Nothing but fields, huh?
Yeah, we seem to be leaving the town behind.
Oh, we are? Or better still, exactly as you put it, we seem to be.
And we're not?
Well, notice how the road curves up ahead?
Yeah?
Wait till you see what's around that bend.
We rounded the bend, like you said, and there in front of us was the main street of the town we just left. It seemed impossible. We'd driven more than a mile in the opposite direction. The railroad station was on the right, and the diner just ahead of us. Not a single car on the street was more recent than a 1950. Walter pulled up in front of the diner.
Like this with every road into or out of the village. We always end up right where we started. Well, shall we have breakfast?
Oh, you're still here. Oh, I thought last night was maybe a dream.
Oh, he's very much here, all right. Tell Russ to get some eggs over easygoing. All right with you, Doug?
Suits me.
2 double hands over easy, Russ. Walter and Mr. Watson are here.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, you have to excuse my husband, Mr. Watson. He's not exactly Mr. Personality.
Oh, it's all right.
He used to be, before this happened. It affected lots of people in different ways.
That's putting it mildly.
You see, we know it's 1980, but we have no idea what the world is like. All TV and radio stopped with whatever is coming out of that hole in the mountain.
How do you know 30 years have passed?
Oh, we've kept track of the days, the years. Birthdays are the hardest in most people. They know they're a year older, but don't look it or feel it.
And that's hard? Listen, I know 100 people who'd give their left arm to be in that position.
Yeah, it sounds great, don't it? You got any idea how boring that is? You got any idea? Oh, of course you don't.
Russ, please.
Get up every morning and see the same woman looking the same year after year, driving the same car, seeing the same noisy brats, never growing up, just being the same noisy brats that, well, you want to choke them. Only it don't do no good because you can't shut them up. They ain't never going to grow up, and they ain't never going to die.
Russ.
Let him.
I know what you're thinking, Mr. Outsider. Ain't it grand? I was 40 when this thing hit, and if anyone had told me then I was going to live like this forever, I'd have said, whoopee. But I'm so sick of this diner, this town, I could die. But the funny part is, I can't even do that. I'll be out back.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Watson.
No, I'm glad he sounded off. He's right. I wouldn't have looked at it that way.
Russ isn't the only one. We would all like very much for time to resume for us again. To change, to grow.
And you think I'm the only one who can make that possible?
Your coming has given us the ray of hope. Now, After breakfast, I want to show you the fissure and the vapor. It has a very curious property, and I'm anxious to see how it reacts to you and you to it. There it is, up ahead.
What is this strange property you mentioned?
I want you to see for yourself. We'll have to go on foot from here.
We're going up there?
Yeah, just wait and see. From this closer perspective, you can see how large that fissure really is.
Yeah.
The vapor is much more profuse than it appears from the village. Notice that the slope of the hill is a gentle one. Base is about 200 yards away. Nothing at all obstructs our view of the fissure high up there as we approach the bottom of the hill.
That's right.
Just a few seconds. Notice what happens. Well? You don't seem surprised.
At what?
Don't you see that the fissure and the vapor have completely disappeared from view? Although there's nothing between us and it. We have never been able to approach any closer.
They're both still there. I can see them as clear as ever.
You still see them?
Yes.
Let's get closer. Quickly.
You mean you can't see the vapor or the fissure?
Not at all. We're almost at the very foot of the hill now. Can you still?
Are you pulling my leg, telling me you can't see that hole up there and the steam coming out of it? I can even hear it.
Would I pull your leg about this after everything else that you've seen? We have tried since the crack first appeared to investigate it from every angle. We can never come close. The fact that you still see it must mean that you're not affected by it. You can approach it. You can learn its secrets.
Well, I'm not going up there for an atomic steam bath or whatever that thing is.
Oh, but you must. That's the source of our incredible existence. Now, you're the first outsider. You're immune to our condition. You are the only one who can approach and perhaps put an end to it.
You're asking me to go into what looks like a live volcano? There's a sort of a pulsating blue light inside there.
There is? We've never seen it from the village.
Well, this is as far as I go.
I'm sorry. You're right, Doug. I must try to understand how you feel. Let's go back to the car. I see it now. We've all been too anxious. You haven't even been here 24 hours, and we're expecting miracles from you.
He was right, and I'm no miracle worker. And I was getting more worried about Alice all the time. She must be frantic. She had no idea where I was. And, of course, neither did I. At least, I knew I was alive and well. Walter left me alone for the afternoon while he conferred with the city fathers. For the first time, I had a chance to think. I decided to try leaving the place the way I came in, along the railroad tracks. It was worth a chance. I took my attaché case and started back down the tracks in the direction last night's train had come. They stretched as far as I could see.
Mr. Watson, you mind if I join you?
Hello? No, of course not.
Well, out for a stroll.
Well, I'm going to see how far I can go along the tracks. I should come to Bloomsdale. I've had enough of this nightmare.
Well, we won't be run down by any trains, that's for sure. Do you mind if I take your arm?
Oh.
It's so nice to touch someone different. You are going to lead us out, aren't you?
Look, up ahead.
Huh?
The train station. It's got to be the next town down the line.
Do you think so? Look, at the sign on the station house.
Hanover Hills? It can't be.
It is.
We've never left the tracks. We've never changed direction. Hanover Hills was behind us.
Why are you so surprised?
I don't know. I should have expected it. Let's get back. I want to talk with Walter. If you really think I can find something to help you up on that hill, I'm willing to try.
We do, Doug. The fissure is our only answer. And even then, who knows? You may enter that fissure, walk through a tunnel, and find yourself back in Bloomsdale, was it?
Yes.
You may leave us all behind.
Well, that won't help you.
True. But help is not coming from any other quarter either.
I guess you're right.
A few precautions do occur to me. I think we should have a knapsack for food and water and some protective clothing.
We?
Of course, I'll go with you.
Well, how can you?
Well, even though the fissure is not visible to me, I can still accompany you.
Oh, I'm ready.
We'll go tomorrow.
Well, why wait?
It's mid-afternoon now. I think we should start early in the morning. And we have to get our things together. Tomorrow we'll drive to the foot of the hill and see what we shall see.
In the early evening, just before twilight, I walked alone along the road that led toward the hillside, where the vapor rose silently into the sky. The late sun tinted it with orange and red. It looked like a silk scarf gently waving in the evening summer breeze. And I thought of this morning, the hissing sound it made, the pulsating blue lights inside the fissure, and I wondered just what I was getting into. But I had no choice. There was no one but me to approach this phenomenon. And tomorrow, I would do so.
Doug Watson seems to have found the fountain of youth, a land where no one grows older, nothing wears out, and nothing changes. But no one seems happy about it. Of course, Doug himself really ought to get back to Alice and the family if he can. What lies inside the fissure in the hillside with the strange vapor and the blue lights? We'll find out when we go along with Doug in Act 3. Has dawned bright and pleasant in Hanover Hills. A wisp of vapor rises from the hole in the hillside in a straight, unwavering line in the still air. And on the highway leading, you should pardon the expression, out of Hanover Hills, Doug Watson is riding with Mayor Walter Cummings on their way to explore the strange phenomenon that has kept the village a virtual prisoner. Doug, you can't imagine my feelings at this time. We're on the threshold of an answer.
You hope.
I know that something will change when you explore that fissure.
Well, I don't know what I'm going to do when I get there.
You will know.
All we can do is try. Come on. I want to get this thing over with.
Doug, whatever happens, if you find a way out and leave us behind, or if tampering with that vapor only increases our condition, I want you to know how much we appreciate your help and your courage.
Forget it. Courage is the last thing I've got. I just want to get out of here.
Well, this is the vanishing point where I'll stop seeing it. But I'll try to stay with you as long as I can.
Well, let's go with it. It's up there, big as day. I can still see it and hear it.
I can't.
Well, what do you see, then?
Nothing but the hillside. Exactly as it was before this happened. Keep describing it for me.
We're starting up the hill now.
I'm right behind you.
I can see the blue lights now. They're much brighter as we get closer. The opening is larger than it looks from down below. It's weird. It doesn't seem threatening. It's almost inviting. It's a shame you can't see it, Walter.
Hey, is there any heat from the vapor?
No. The lights pulsate with a definite rhythm.
Well, how close are you?
A few yards from the entrance. Looks like a cave. Big enough to stand up in. I'm going in. No turning back now. Walter? Walter? I turned, and Walter was gone. The hill behind me was deserted. And before me, the entrance to this fantastic opening in the hillside. I stepped inside the entrance. And it was like a disco. Hypnotizing, fantastic, fascinating. The walls and ceiling flashed with the pulsating blue and white light. The vapor swirled and danced inside the cave until it swept out the front of the fissure. I felt nothing. No heat, no choking sensation. Nothing but a force urging me deeper into the recess. And then I saw it on the ground, resting in a shallow hole. A small blue stone, like polished marble. And from this jewel surged the light and vapor. This was the source of Hanover Hill's predicament. But where had it come from? The earth obviously upheaved it during the quake Walter had described. Hypnotized, I was drawn closer. The force was irresistible. I was completely in its spell. I knelt beside the hole and reached forward slowly. My fingers closed around the cool blue marble. I knelt alone in darkness, stillness. In an instant, the lights and the vapor had stopped. And ahead of me, I could see the daylight at the opening. I hurried outside. The morning seemed just as I'd left it, bright and beautiful. The hillside and the road below were empty. Walter was nowhere in sight. I started down toward the road and looked back. There wasn't a trace of the fissure I had so recently explored. The hillside was as unscarred as it had been for centuries. I scrambled the rest of the way down to the road. I heard it before I saw it. Coming from the south toward Hanover Hills was a small delivery truck. I waved and shouted, and the driver pulled to a stop.
Hop in. How far are you going?
Into town.
Your lucky day. I got a couple of deliveries there.
Yeah? Baked goods, I see.
You, know this Hanover Hills pretty good?
A little. Why?
Never been there before. You know where the diner is? That's my first stop.
Yes, I think I can show you where it is. But right now, I'm not too sure.
Town ain't all that big, is it?
No, it's not. So where are you coming from?
I'm up the line. Baker's in Mount Vernon, but I deliver all over the county.
You sure you got a delivery in Hanover Hills?
What's the matter with you? Would I be asking if I didn't? Right there on the dash. See them slips? Top one says Hanover Hills, diner, handy food store, and landmark hotel.
How come you never delivered there before?
Never had an order that I know of. I only been working for the bakery a couple of months. Hey, we're coming into town. Which way do I go?
Straight ahead. I'll tell you where to turn. It's right across from the railroad station.
Holy Moses. You sure there's anyone living in this place?
He had a point. The place was the most run-down looking town I'd ever seen. A nice row of houses that only yesterday were so clean and neat were in complete disrepair. Paint peelings, vines all over. The street was cracked and broken. The gas station was deserted. The roof sagged and the glass on those old-fashioned pumps was broken. We parked in front of the diner, and I held my breath as we got out of the truck.
First-rate bakery. Anybody here? Hello? Anybody here?
Yes? And I'll take it.
Oh, thanks, ma'am. Just sign here. Say, how do I get to the handy food store?
Just 2 blocks down the main street. You can't miss it. It's half gray and half fresh painted white.
Oh, okay. Thanks, ma'am. See you again on the next order. So long, buddy. Good luck.
Doug, why, I didn't see you standing there. You came back. We were wondering.
Gail? What's happened? You've aged so. What happened to the village?
Well, we caught up with 30 years. You did it, Doug. You did it.
Ah, Doug, you're back safe. I saw you get off the truck.
Walter, you're all taking so offhand. Don't you know what's happened to you?
Well, of course. Just what we hoped for. And wait till you see this town a year from now. Old Martin Briggs has a run on paint and lumber and nails like he'd never had before. We've got a town to fix up. Thanks to you, Doug. Thanks to you, we got a reason to get up in the morning.
Oh, and we were so hoping we'd see you again, too. We thought perhaps you'd gone home through.
We owe you a lot, Doug. I'm glad you got back. I've still got your briefcase for you. I kept it safe.
But it was only this morning, wasn't it? Less than an hour ago.
Doug, we've been dying to know. What did you find up there?
Only then did I realize that I still held the smooth blue stone in my hand. I opened my fingers, and it lay in my palm, cool and lustrous. I picked this up inside the cave, and everything stopped.
And for us, everything moved forward. How long are you staying, Doug? I can put you up again tonight.
I want to get home as fast as I can.
Well, trains are running now. You can get the southbound 607 into the city. It stops at Bloomsdale.
And that's what I'll do. Oh, brother, will I ever.
Yeah, here she comes, Doug. And remember, we're just up the line. Come see us again.
Oh, please do.
Dinner's always on the house.
We've been through something together. There's a bond between us now, Doug. You and Hanover Hills.
I know I told you yesterday, I think it was yesterday, how much I liked you all. And I'll still be saying it 10 years from now. So long, friends. So long.
Doug, thank heaven you're home. I was so worried. What happened to you?
I missed my stop and ended up
Where, for heaven's sake?
Hanover Hills.
Where? I never heard of it. Why didn't you call?
I'm sorry. I didn't seem to be able
to. Here, let me take your coat. Dinner's a little dried up, but I can freshen it.
That's okay, honey.
Darling, you look tired. You have been working too hard. Oh, what's this? It fell out of your pocket.
It can't be.
Sort of blue stone. Oh, it's beautiful. What is it, Doug?
Alice, this is still Thursday night, isn't it?
Of course. But what is this? Oh, it's so smooth and cool. Doug, where did you get it?
I sit here with this curious stone in my hand, unbelieving. I know where I got it, but I don't understand. And Alice most certainly never would. What happened to me? Did I look into a world of my own hallucination? No. This stone in my hand is real. I'll keep it, always. And when my spirit wearies, I'll remember. I'll remember. And I'll love life more.
Time is a curious phenomenon. We hate to see it pass, but we're quick to waste it. We often want to kill it, but we rarely work it to death. And we often wish that time would stand still. Well, we just saw what happened if time could stand still. I don't think I'd enjoy that any more than the good people of Hanover Hills. I look forward to each new experience, each new day, each moment, in fact, like the one we'll share when I return shortly.
radio brings something new and exciting into your life? Variety is the spice of life, and change is inevitable. When things get you down and everything seems boring and monotonous, just remember, it won't always be that way. There's another day, a bright day on the way, even if you happen to live in a place called Hanover Hills. Our cast included John Beal, Joan Shea, Ray Owens, and Robert Maxwell. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. It has been said we all have something to hide. The question is, how strong is that desire? How great is our need to blot out, to obliterate, to forget? Sometimes the mind will disguise reality so completely that nothing can penetrate its mystery. To what lengths will the human brain go to avoid ugly remembrance, or to conceal, even from itself, a tragic truth? For the mind can be cagey, evasive, and deny its owner even the passage of time. Our mystery drama, Who is George Williams?, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by G. Frederick Lewis and stars Larry Haynes. It is Christmas Day. It is also 20 below. The sky is cold and clear and black. We're in Anchorage, Alaska. Two men drink mugs of coffee and listen to the nightly news on the radio. Why not? What else can they do? They're snowed in by 6 feet of snow.
2 weeks ago, reported by an official of the Federal Aviation Administration. 2 weeks have passed since the mysterious disappearance of the hijacker who parachuted from North Alaska Airlines Flight 207, which had left Juneau at its regular 6 p.m. time, was forced down at Cordova, where it took on additional fuel and the ransom money. It returned to Juneau 12 hours later. All passengers and crew safe, but no hijacker aboard.
It's incredible. They still haven't found him?
Bizarre skyjacking episode in the history of air piracy. A stoop-shouldered, middle-aged man extorted $1 million from the airline and thwarted any attempted capture by parachuting to safety with the suitcase of money. Over the Panhandle, FBI officials have given up their manhunt owing to the severe snowstorm 45 miles north of Dawson. The location of this jump was determined by the time a signal light went on in the cockpit, indicating a drop in the airplane's air pressure when the hijacker opened the rear door and jumped.
Oh, what's the matter, George? Why'd you shut off the radio?
That bugs me, that's all. It's not just because I'm a law enforcement officer, but when some crazy crook puts a plane load of innocent travelers in danger of their lives with threats to blow up the plane and himself, If he doesn't get what he wants, I boil.
Are you sure it's a concern over the safety of lives, or is it anger at the big money the skyjacker got away with?
I hate cowardice, Willie. And coming aboard with dynamite is just that.
It takes a little more than cowardice to parachute out of a 727 with a suitcase of money. I say the man had nerve, and he broke every rule in the book to escape.
Well, friend, all I can say is he'll be darned lucky if that's all he broke. What chance for survival do you give a man who bails out at midnight at 20,000 feet?
What, in this weather? 1 in a million. Now, my dear George, that you've got that off your chest, I'd like to turn the radio back on to hear the weather forecast.
And it is reported some 6,000 residents of the coastal area are now returning to their homes.
They may not have blizzards down south, but a quake is much worse.
Shockwave south to Seattle registered 7.3 on the Richter scale. Palomar Observatory north of Anchorage reported the epicenter to be 35 miles west of Sitka in the southwest corner of Alaska. This is the end of the news at 9.
That's the end for me, too. I've had enough bad news. Doc, Willie, Bertram, and I have known one another since we went to Anchorage High School together. Willie went into medicine, and I joined the police force. Willie's a widower, and I'd never married, so we generally share the holidays. This cold and blustery Christmas was no exception. We got out the old chessboard, and I was puzzling over a move.
It's illegal for Black's king to capture the queen.
You say.
Well, you want to expose yourself to capture by my bishop?
What's that?
I'm saying your king can't get out of my queen's range.
Willie, did you hear something?
Only you hoping to find a safe flight square, which there ain't.
Funny, I thought...
Now, wait a minute. Are you going to play or talk?
Help me. Wait a minute. There it is again.
George, where are you going?
We're going to take a look outside.
What are you doing? Close that door.
There's somebody out here, lying in the snow, Willie. Give me a hand. We dragged the man inside. He was barely conscious, suffering from exposure, some frostbite. His clothing, a badly torn business suit, and what looked like blood all over him. We undressed him, and Doc Bertram examined him.
Contusions about the head, fractured leg. Where do you suppose he came from?
I've checked all his pockets. There's no wallet, no labels in his shirt anywhere. No identification whatsoever.
How about his shoes?
Old, worn, no maker's mark. How badly is he hurt?
I've improvised a splint for his leg and cleaned off the scalp. But he should be in the hospital. But how can we get there through all these drifts?
Where am I?
Oh, you're all right. Don't worry.
Who are you?
I'm Dr. Bertram. Now I'm going to give you a sedative. What you need is rest. Give your body a chance to catch up.
Well, hold on, Willie. Before you put him to sleep, I'd like to ask him a few questions. How did you get here?
I don't know.
You don't know what you were doing out there in 6 feet of snow without an overcoat?
I don't know. Where am I?
Anchorage. You had no idea?
I'm in Anchorage.
Yes, Anchorage, Alaska. What's your name?
My name?
Come on now, you heard me. What's your name? Who are you?
My name. My name is, I don't know.
You don't know?
No, my name, I can't seem to remember.
We put him to bed, and by the next morning, the snowplows had come through, and the roads were open, and Doc Bertram took the man to the hospital. In a very few days, he was hobbling about on a crutch.
Well, how's our patient today?
I guess I'm all right.
This is Police Chief George Teller. I don't know whether you remember him.
How do you do, sir? I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Yes, be glad to. Anything I can tell you.
All right. First of all, did your name come back to you?
You know, it's crazy. I've tried, but I cannot remember for the life of me.
Well, don't let it worry you.
sometimes people who have suffered from exposure or shock can become temporarily disoriented.
Is that why I can't seem to remember my name?
Well, what can you remember?
Well, I've been thinking. And all that comes back to me is that for some reason I had to get to Anchorage. It's as if I had some important reason to get here.
So one could presume you don't live in this city.
No, I don't think so.
Well, that would explain why you weren't dressed for our weather. Have you any idea where you're from?
No, none whatsoever.
Well, I have to make out a report on you. I'll have to identify you somehow.
All right, give him a name, George. Let's see, how about George Williams? Your first name and mine.
George Williams. Okay, why not? Any objections from you?
No, none at all. George Williams. I'm George Williams, sure.
Willie?
Yes?
Are you free? I'd like you to come back to the police station with me.
Sure. Now?
Now.
All right, George Williams. You keep on taking your medication, do what the nurses tell you, and we'll have you out in a few days.
Well, I want to thank you both for all your patience with me. I hope I'll get my memory back soon. Believe me.
What were you hustling me out of there in such a big rush, George? What's the hurry?
You'll see, Willie.
What's this? You got a policeman standing outside the door. Why?
I wouldn't like our Mr. George Williams to suddenly take it into his head to leave Anchorage.
Well, now, why would he do that? He has no place to go. He doesn't know where he comes from. Well, I don't get it.
Because, Willie, I'm not so sure he isn't faking. Besides, I think I know who this man is.
You do?
I've sent out a few inquiries over the wire. The answers ought to be coming in about now. Gun it.
Well, what?
I was wrong. Look at this teletype, Willie.
Are you going to tell me what this is all about?
I was positive George Williams was that hijacker.
The one who jumped with $1 million?
I was so sure. It all made sense.
And he isn't.
I sent a complete description on to Juneau. Doesn't really tally with the hijackers. Not in any way. Age, height, coloring.
Well, you tried, Sherlock. I could have told you that amnesia, it is, unfortunately, the real thing.
So the big question remains.
You mean?
Just who is George Williams?
Doctors will tell you amnesia is a form of hysteria in which memory is disturbed. Sometimes only a group of ideas are blanked out. Sometimes proper names, people's names, names of places. Has the curtain fallen permanently across this man's yesterdays? And if so, what is it that George Williams has been compelled to forget? I'll be back shortly with Act 2. The mystery of the identity of George Williams continued. The days passed into weeks, and the weeks into months. And the man found in a snowdrift began an entirely new life. It wasn't easy, having no papers, recommendations from previous employers, apparently no special talents. Nobody would hire him, except the police. That is, Chief Teller himself. 12 months working for the force went by.
Georgie Williams?
Did you call me, Chief?
Yep, have a seat. You know what today is?
Oh, sure. Tuesday.
And what date?
March 1st.
Well, does that have any meaning for you?
Should it?
It's been a whole year today since you started working for the Anchorage Police.
That's right. I'd quite forgotten.
Now, don't start that again.
No, Chief.
So, in honor of the occasion, I was going to give you a chance to actually join the force.
A badge?
A badge. I I think you know enough about what goes on here. You've handled almost every detail in the place. I happen to think you can take the police exam and pass it. Does that appeal to you?
Does it? Well, you name the day, Chief. And thank you.
Oh, I'm not doing any favors, Georgie. I think you've got just the right kind of mind for this work. Of course, I was right. George Williams passed the exams with the highest grade on record in these parts. Whoever he was, he had a fine brain. To start him off right, I put him to work over in Valdez, where the pipeline ends, and very often lots of trouble begins.
Chief, you got to be joking. Even after all this time, I'm not so sure it's safe for Williams to be assigned over there.
Well, he's either a policeman or he isn't, Doc.
But a hot spot like Valdez is just as bad as Fairbanks.
You're not too keen on the new pipeline, are you?
No, I'm not. Particularly for what it's done to the people who live along the line. It all started when they were building it. Boom towns have become boomerangs. A lot of tough hombres. I'm not all sure George Williams can handle that. He's well enough to handle himself. Have you thought what might happen if he got physically roughed up? He gets clobbered. I'm only hypothecating now. And suddenly his memory returns. It can, you know.
So what's bad about that?
He doesn't remember he's George Williams, a cop. He won't know where he is or why.
You mean his old self returns, taking the place of his new self?
So what good to them is a man in a uniform who doesn't know how to deal with the situation? He wouldn't know even how to snap on a pair of handcuffs.
Oh.
Jack?
Doc, maybe you got a point.
How long has he been down in Valdez?
A week?
A week? George, if it were up to me, I'd be on the pipe to their police department right now.
Okay. I'll look into it. I wasn't sure what to do. Haul George Williams back from Valdez and give him a desk job here in Anchorage, or ask the Valdez authorities to ease up on his duties. Either way, Georgia wasn't going to like it. And then something happened to make either choice quite academic. Yes, I put in a call to Captain Brown at Valdez. Put him through, please. Hello, Jack? Did you get my message? We'd like George Williams transferred back here. What? What do you mean, disappeared? Well, when did he check in last? Day before yesterday? No trace? That's not good, Jack. Well, I can't really explain it. I think maybe I'd better hop down to Valdez and see if I can help you find him. Yes, it could be very serious.
Disappeared? George just vanished?
That's what Jack Brown said.
I was afraid of that. You're going down there?
Just as soon as I can, Doc.
I'd like to come along. After all, he's my patient.
Well, you want to go tonight? It's not far.
Can you give me till morning, George? I've got 2 cases at the hospital that bear watching.
6 a.m.?
You called it. Hello?
Is Chief Teller there?
Now, hold on. It's for you, George.
Chief Teller here. Who is this?
George Williams. Understand you were looking for me.
Well, not only me, but Captain Brown in Valdez. What happened, Georgie?
I'm okay.
It's Georgie. He's okay.
We had a little action here, that's all.
You sure you're all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. The captain said you wanted me back in Anchorage, so I'll be there as soon as I can. Tell you all about it when I get there.
Georgie, can I speak a moment to Captain Brown?
Hold on. He just stepped out. We cleaned up a gang who was stealing from the Alieska warehouse. Millions. He's gone downstairs to book them.
You played cop or detective, Georgie?
A little of both, I guess. Tell you when I see you.
And these guys had stolen $2 million worth of trucks, earth movers, anything that wasn't nailed down. Shipped the stuff across the border into Canada for resale.
I'll be darned. What kind of security has the pipeline company got?
Boy, you try security over 800 miles of tundra and forests and just plain permafrost. Anyway, I was assigned to watch their Valdez warehouse.
They'd take stuff from right out of the warehouse?
So I got me a job as the warehouse night watchman. When the gang tried to pay me off, I knew I was in the right place.
Where did you disappear to?
Well, I was on a Hercules cargo plane that used to ferry pipeline equipment up into the Brooks Range.
You were on a plane?
And 3 of the gang were flying it to Canada. I persuaded them to turn around. Then when we got back, I turned them in.
Persuaded?
In a manner of speaking. I had to use a little force.
And you feel all right?
Well, Chief, I was going to ask you. Can I have a few days off? I'd like to go see Dr. Bertram. Something came up, and I would just like to talk to him about it.
What is it?
Well, I'm not really sure.
You remember something of your past?
I think so.
Well, of course you're going to have time off, Georgie.
I suppose nothing's turned up in the last 16 months, nothing new?
No, I personally checked and double-checked every missing persons bureau in the States.
And Washington?
And Washington. They have absolutely no record of anyone answering to your description having been reported missing.
You know what, Chief? Whoever I was related to must have given me up for dead. Somebody must think I died. There's no other explanation.
It could be. But you may remember, ultimately.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I've always wanted to grow a beard. Now that nobody seems to want to identify me, it doesn't matter.
Well, as of now, Georgie, you're off duty. Go see the doc and take it easy.
Doc, put yourself in my shoes. A man whose memories are a total blank for 45 years. How old would you say I was?
Say 45.
Total blank. No past, no recollections. I'm like a walking dead man, not a real individual. Even my name is made up. Half yours, half Chief Teller's. Well, that weighs on you. You can't give undivided attention to your life. You can't even plan your future because all the time you're saying to yourself, who am I? Did I have a family, brothers, sisters? Was I single, married? Do I have children? Where do I belong?
My advice to you is live from day to day, do your best, work your hardest, enjoy your hours. And if something turns up, then we'll look into it and see if it could be part of your past.
Doc, something has turned up.
It has?
This magazine.
Scientific Facts. Explain, George.
Well, I've been working undercover, being a warehouse night watchman in this case in Valdez. I've been up all night for 2 nights. I was very tired. On my way back to report to the station house early one morning, I stopped at a newsstand and bought this magazine.
Well, I understand. Automatic.
Yeah, that's right. Without thinking, I bought this magazine. Anyway, I went back to the motel I was staying at for some shut-eye, and I pulled down the shades. And when I woke up, I don't know what time it was, I sort of lay there. I switched on the light, and I started to read it.
Yes?
Don't you see, I read it. And what I read made complete sense to me. Articles on scientific research, one in particular, a long article on bone structure and its friability with increasing age. Now, where did I get all that knowledge, Doc? The background to understand it. And I was half awake.
You're thinking you were a man of science, perhaps, in your previous existence.
Well, is there any other explanation? That's why I came here to tell you, Dr. Bertram. Now, you're a doctor. Could I have been a doctor?
Possibly. The mystery is, however, what drew the curtain over your mind. Now, I'd like to tell Chief Teller what you told me, may I?
Oh, sure.
It's nice to have you back in Anchorage, and between you and me, that beard you started makes you look very distinguished, indeed.
It's surprising what a good disguise it is. Having a beard these days makes you look far less conspicuous than not having one, which is an asset for a policeman or a detective.
Another year went by, and George Williams became one of our best investigators. Most intuitive, most thorough. There didn't seem to be any lengths to which he wouldn't go to pursue a criminal. As for his lifetime before his mysterious arrival that Christmas Day at my house, that part of his past appeared too deeply embedded ever to reappear.
Chief Teller, listen to this, just coming in on the teletype. Have you expert to loan us for brief inquiry into discovery of human skeleton near Salisbury Sound? Signed Juneau Police.
Have we an expert on skeletons? In words of one syllable, I'd say no.
Chief, where is Juneau?
Oh, it's about 600 miles down the coast. Well, surely you know where Juneau is.
Yes. Of course I do. It just, I was startled by the name.
You know someone who lives there, Georgie?
I'm not sure. Juneau. Sort of rings a familiar bell. Oh, well.
Would you like the assignment?
Oh, no, I'm no expert on skeletons.
Oh, Willie Bertram says you are.
Well, he's exaggerating. I do read a lot, particularly anatomical articles, books. I just seem to take to it.
Well, it's all settled then. I'll wire them to expect you.
Chief, you're doing this for me, aren't you?
Only partly. If we can help another city's police department, why not? All Alaskan law enforcers ought to work together.
It's more than why not, isn't it?
Well, you know, Georgie, I only loaned you my first name. Maybe someday I'd like to have it back. Maybe someday soon. I'd like for you to remember your own name.
I wonder if I'll find it in Juneau.
A king about whom the great Shakespeare has written once cried aloud as follows: "Oh, that I were as great as is my grief, or lesser than my name, or that I could forget what I have been, or not remember what I must be now." Whether the mystery of his past deepens or is solved, we shall discover when I return shortly with Act 3. When one has lost one's past, every day can be a hurdle, every hour an obstacle. One grasps at straws hardly sufficient to bear one's weight. George Williams is apprehensive about going to the city of Juneau. Shall he find out something there about himself? The irony of ironies is that his job is to unearth someone else's secret, not his own.
This is the place, Mr. Williams. Right down there. That deserted cottage on the beach.
It's a beautiful spot. So peaceful.
It was. In fact, before the tidal wave a few years ago, it was one of the favorite summer spots around here. Now you couldn't sell a house or rent yours here for love nor money. Nowhere along the coast. People are afraid it could happen again.
A tidal wave?
Well, you must have read about it. Folks started calling Juneau the unlucky city. Not long before the big wave, that man hijacked a plane out of Juneau and parachuted with $1 million. Never did find him.
Hijacked plane?
Yeah, here we are. I'll show you where we found the skeleton. Around the back in the well.
Why don't we cut through here between the cottage and the garage? It's quicker this way to the well.
See?
Where's the bucket?
Oh, we took that off when we hauled up the remains.
Where are they?
Got it out pretty much in one piece and put it in the front room. Come inside, and I'll show you.
Which front room? There are two.
The one with the 3 windows. Say, have you been here before?
No, as far as I know.
Well, here we are. It's in this police property box.
There was nothing else at the bottom of the well but this, huh?
I wouldn't say that. Quite a bit of dried seaweed and sand. But that could have washed in when the big wave hit. In fact, it's a miracle this cottage is still standing. It was under 10 feet of water. The entire coastline was.
Actually, Inspector, I can do a more complete analysis on the remains if you have them brought to your lab.
I was thinking that, too. Is there anything else on the premises you'd like to see?
Well, I'll just have a look about upstairs in the 2 tiny bedrooms. Now, careful of that board. It's loose. You all right? Here. Let me help you.
Oh, I must say, they give you great training and anchorage. I didn't spot that loose board at all.
Then up to the attic?
I don't think there is one.
Above the pull upstairs in the hall, but I doubt it. Nobody ever uses it. Inspector, before we go back, I'd like to take a turn around outside, if you don't mind.
No, not at all. That's what you're here for, Mr. Williams. I'll go up to the patrol car and call in for a wagon to fetch the remains. I'll wait for you there. Hello, Central 3. Inspector Barrett here.
Central 3 here.
Jim, will you send a wagon around to Salisbury Sound?
Will do, Inspector.
Oh, and Jim, do you know anything about this Detective Williams they sent over from Anchorage?
Know anything? What do you mean?
Well, between us, there's something peculiar about that man. Right now, he's standing outside the cottage, looking off into the Gulf. He's been standing there, staring for at least 5 minutes.
So? Some people like seawater.
Well, never mind. He's coming up the path now. I think I'll call Anchorage when we get back. I'll see you. Over.
Over and out.
Good morning, Inspector Barrett. The examination's completed. I'd say these are the bones of a female, age about 35, 5 foot 7 inches.
Yes?
That's all.
That's all?
Well, I'm afraid these bones were discovered too late to learn much more from them. No teeth, which makes that identification impossible. No bones broken or fractured. Nothing. There's no doubt the skeleton has been subjected to a great deal of water. Do you have any record of who might have occupied the cottage just before the tidal wave?
I was just about to call the woman who owns it. She used to rent it out,
Connie.
Then hire herself out as housekeeper and maid, come in and clean the place. Constance Roberts.
I ought to talk to her.
I'll arrange it. Wait a minute. Did you say Connie?
Did I?
Mr. Williams, this is Mrs. Constance Roberts.
How do you do?
Detective Williams is assisting us in identifying the...
Yes, I know. What you found in my well. You don't have to say it.
Mrs. Roberts, what was the last time your cottage was occupied?
By me? Oh, not in 15 years. I rented it out for summers.
Only for summers?
Well, the last couple wanted to stay on a whole year, so I agreed.
The last couple?
The last couple before the big wave. I never did like him.
Why not?
Oh, I just didn't, that's all. Some people I take to, some I don't. It's a sixth sense I have. Well, I turned out right about them.
Would you care to tell us about this couple, Mrs. Roberts?
Oh, there's nothing much to tell. They kept to themselves. Never let me in once to come and clean. Said she'd prefer to do it all herself. In the end, they skipped out without paying the last month's rent. Oh, your typical city folk.
Well, you must have had 2 months' rent deposit.
Oh, matter of fact, yes, I did. I'd forgotten all about that. How did you know?
So, in fact, you weren't out of pocket.
What were their names?
Oh, I've been trying to remember ever since that thing was found in my well. Would you believe it? I can't.
I'd like you to give me as detailed a description as you can of the two of them.
Yes, I was just going to ask the same thing. What did he look like?
Well, sir, I'd say he was about your height and build.
Mine or his?
No, this gentleman.
Detective Williams, 5'10".
And if you'll pardon my saying so, if you didn't have a beard, Mr. Williams, I'd say the professor looked very much like you.
Report to Chief Teller, Anchorage Police, from George Williams. I'm aware this should be a report on my investigation of the Juneau skeleton case. But I'm afraid it has to be more than that. It's not easy for me to write this, but the evidence is clear and irrefutable. There is no doubt in my mind that the skeleton must have been that of my wife. The cottage and the surroundings became increasingly familiar to me as I viewed them. And I was practically identified by the lady owner during an interview. Why I murdered my wife And how I found myself at your doorstep here in Anchorage on Christmas Day 3 years ago are a complete mystery to me. Nevertheless, I hereby hand in to you my resignation and ask only that the law take its course. Sincerely, George Williams.
Georgie, you got that report on the Juneau case?
Yes, sir. Here it is.
Thanks. I'll look at it later.
I wish you'd look at it now, sir.
Well, I've got something more important than that to tell you. Have a seat.
I know what you're going to say, sir.
Oh, I doubt that very much.
All I can say at this point, sir, is I'm very, very sorry.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, if you'd look at the report now, sir, it would clarify it.
Just a moment, Georgie. First things first. Has Dr. Bertram arrived yet, Sergeant? Good. Send him right in. Yes, alone. I want to see him first. Come in, Willie.
Hello, Williams. You told him yet, George?
No. I thought perhaps it's such a delicate matter, I'd let you handle it.
Williams, suppose I'd tell you we know who you really are.
I see. You both know.
Well, you don't seem exactly pleased.
How could I be?
The inspector in Juneau got in touch with me the day you started your investigation there. He was concerned because you seemed to know a great deal about a cottage.
Where they found the skeleton. It all came back to me as I went from room to room. I knew I had been there before, but not my name. I stood looking at the gulf, hoping my name would come, but it didn't.
Ask Mrs. Warren to step in, if you will, please.
Oh, don't get up, gentlemen, please.
Yeah, well, come right in, ma'am. Come in.
Hello, Robert.
Who are you?
Don't you know me, Robert?
This is your wife, Robert.
I see.
You are Robert Warren, George.
Don't you remember anything, Robert?
Do you mind if I sit down?
Well, it's quite true, my boy. This is Amy Warren, your wife.
Let me sit down beside you, Robert. Darling, give me your hand.
When I got a call from Juneau, Georgie, Robert, and you were identified as Robert Warren, a lecturing professor, I checked every university within 50 miles. And sure enough, the day that plane was hijacked, you had a speaking engagement right here in Anchorage.
Robert, do you remember you were going away for a week, and I went up to Shepherd Peak to visit Mother and Dad while you'd be away? Do you remember that?
We may be throwing too many memories at him for him to absorb them all.
No. Go on, please. And don't let go of my hand either.
I won't, darling. You had said you'd take that flight, the one that was hijacked. But when the plane got back, you weren't on it. And the next day was that awful earthquake and tidal wave. When I finally got back to our cottage, there was nobody there. I called the university. You'd never arrived. We all thought, Mother, Dad, and I, that you'd been drowned like so many others. Swept away.
Why can't I remember? Why?
Now, don't ask too much of yourself.
Too much? Don't you understand, any of you, George? Williams, detective, is a lot more real to me than this Robert Warren, professor, who you tell me I am.
But you're not Williams.
I want to remain George Williams. Now, don't take that away from me before the other fellow becomes real.
Robert, I tried so hard not. They said be calm, don't give away your feelings. Now that I found you alive, what can I do to bring you back?
I'm sorry, I really am. I wish I knew who you were when we got married. Anything about our life together, but there's a stone wall there.
George, I really think we'd better stop this right now.
I was supposed to be on a plane that was hijacked. I'm not on the plane. I start a new life. I go to Juneau to investigate a skeleton. It wasn't my wife's. Who was it?
Oh, don't you remember, Robert? It's the one you used for your lectures, your studies. Darling, don't you remember Susie Skeleton? We used to joke about her all the time. Why, we used her for a hat rack when she wasn't working.
Oh, Susie Skeleton. Good Lord, it's coming back. I go to the airport. Yes, the 6 o'clock flight, number 207. And I got there early. I wandered around the hangars, plenty of time. I got lost. Which way? Back to the North Alaska gate. And a long time later, I came to. It's dark. My head hurts. Blood on me. I've been mugged, robbed. Everything gone. Coat, bag, money, everything. I gotta get to Anchorage. No money. Hitchhike. Guy in the car picks me up. Guy in the milk truck. Guy in an oil tanker. Another car. Panel truck. Stay on Route 7, then 4, then back to 1. I gotta go all the way around the Wrangell Mountains to get to Anchorage. It's snowing. Hungry. Out in back of that diner at Glen Allen in a blizzard, eating scraps of bread out of garbage cans. Open truck pulling out. Run, jump in the back, hide under crates. It's freezing cold. I've fallen off the back of the truck. My leg is busted under me. I see a light, a house. The snow is coming down real thick. Help me. Help! Help me!
And I heard you, crying for help outside my door. Doc Bertram and I found you lying in the snow.
Oh, my poor Robert.
Don't cry, Amy. It's all right. I remember it all now, all of you. And I owe you all so very much.
Well, I know you do, Georgie. And I mean to collect right now.
George Teller, what are you talking about?
Willie, I told this man that someday I'd want my name back. The one I loaned him. The one you loaned him. And today's the day, Robert. Give Doc Bertram back the Williams. Give me back the George. And we're even.
George Williams. It's a deal.
And so George Williams found himself. It's not often that a man believes he has killed someone, only to discover that it was but pieces of his past that had died. What do you suppose lies in his future? We'll see when I return shortly. Strange the way life has of showing you the bend in the road and the straight path. Our man, who had lost his memory, decided to remain part Robert Warren and part George Williams, and he set out to combine his interest and knowledge of anatomy with his love of detective work. And so he became an anthropologist, which Robert Warren is to this very day. Our cast included Larry Haynes, Robert Dryden, Joan Shea, and Court Benson. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. I'm always delighted when I come across a new Gothic tale, but never more so than when it happens to be written by someone unlikely. Say, for example, Captain Frederick Marryat, who was popular in his day with young readers for his tales of sea adventure, such as Midshipman Ready. This one, however, is a savage, bloody, haunting tale of another color, or to be precise, a wolf. Our mystery drama, The White Wolf, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Ian Martin and stars Norman Rose and Christopher Tabori. The legends of lycanthropy must be as old as man himself. And believe it or not, the werewolf, or wolfman, is still a valid phenomenon today in certain parts of the world. But that is a pathological phenomenon, a psychiatric descent into cannibalism and bestiality, which has little to do with legend. That's what this story is about, the terrible, spine-chilling transformation of man to ravening beast. The legendary spirits that haunt the Harz Mountains of Germany, and the blood-curdling phantom with the snarling mouth and flesh-destroying claws, the lips bared to reveal the great knives of the canine teeth, in the travesty of a smile that means death. The werewolf.
That damned wolf, why doesn't he be quiet?
They are incredible, Wilhelm. Somehow they smell blood.
How? The animal must be a league away. What are you? Medical doctor or witch doctor, Franz Baum?
The first, I hope. But I have also lived my life in the shadow of these mountains.
How's the boy?
We can let Herman answer that for himself. You feel better from the bleeding?
I don't know, Herr Doctor. I feel weak as a kitten still.
Of course. But I think the fever has abated, yes. Yes, give me a fresh, damp cloth, Wilhelm.
The water is all but gone. I'll have Marcella bring some.
First, let us rid ourselves of this basin of blood. No sight for a young girl.
I'll throw it in the midden.
No. You dare not do that. That wolf out there, whatever he is, don't do anything to attract him to your house. I will rid you of the blood I have let.
How?
I have some containers. I'll take it back to Coburg. With me, I can use it for my experiments. Sleep, my boy, and wake refreshed.
I'm afraid that's just what I'm going to do.
Doctor, is he all right?
Of course. I gave him a draught to help him rest.
I must get my gun.
Time enough. Let me get away. It grows dark.
You are sure Herman will recover?
I have every hope. But really, Wilhelm, I must protest again. This lost woodsman's cottage on the edge of nowhere is not a place to bind your children to.
Franz, let us not argue it again. You know why I hide here like a criminal. Why do I say like a criminal? I am one in the eyes of the law. I thought you said Herman was asleep.
I hope. But you're speaking loud enough for Marcel and your little boy Caesar to hear. Sounds carry in such a small cabin. From outside as well as in, it seems.
Damned wolf.
Papa, come quickly. Caesar's terrified. He's hiding below the bed and won't come out.
No, hush, darling. I am just going to get my gun.
Better I leave, Wilhelm. Once I am gone, your wolf will not trouble you, I think. I carry away in my bag the scent which tempted him here.
I don't care what tempted him here. I'll put a bullet in him.
Oh, Herr Dr. Baum, why do we stay here hidden in the forest?
It is your father's will, dear Marcella.
How is Herman?
Your brother is resting quietly now. I'll be back to see him as soon as I may. But I think we have drawn away the fever from within him.
How can I help?
Bring him some fresh, cool towels, Marcella. See that he sleeps. Keep him quiet.
Oh, I've got to go to Caesar. He'll be scared. Did you kill that terrible wolf, Papa?
Ah, no, just grazed him. Go tend to Caesar, Marcella.
Yes, Papa.
Where was it?
Damn near inside the house, scrabbling at a back window. An unusual creature. You know, it was pure white, with fur like ermine.
Of white wool?
Yeah, against the snow it moved like a ghost.
But at all events, it is gone.
Yes.
Then I will take with me the blood scent that brought it here.
But what about Herman?
I shall return within the month, unless I can persuade you to abandon the wilderness, come back to the world. I have a deep fear there is some evil threat about you in these haunted mountains.
You mean this white wolf?
I really don't know what I mean, old friend. I am a man of science until I return to these tree-shrouded slopes, and then I become...
Become what?
A primitive, afraid of all I do not know or am afraid to know, afraid of the dark which I must run to escape, afraid of myself because I have no resource with all my learning to stifle primeval fear. These darkening woods and tortured hills are somehow unnatural. Supernatural.
My name is Herman Warner Krantz, and I was born in the year 1763. I'm now 21 years old, and I live with my father, my sister Marcella, who is almost 20, and my brother Caesar, who is 11, in a woodsman's cabin deep in the Hartz Mountains. The nearest house to us is several leagues, and the nearest town over 25. I recite all these facts to myself, light-headed with this raging fever, and sorrowing that we must all live this isolated life. Why? I do not know. There is something quite terrible in my father's background, of which he will not speak. I wonder how long I've been ill, floating half in this world and half, perhaps in some dread other. But now at least the pounding in my head is gone. The ache is washing away from my bones, and I feel myself coming back.
Come, Herman. That's better. Take some more soup. You need to build back your strength.
Never fear. I'm on the mend.
Thank God for Dr. Baum. Oh, why must we stay buried here?
I don't know, little one. But I think the time has come for us to get back among people again.
You think you could convince Papa?
Well, I can try. Where is Father?
Out hunting, he says. But I think he searches for only one thing.
What?
The white wolf.
The what? Why, that wolf meat isn't good to eat.
He's not hunting it for food. Just to kill it.
But why?
Because the stories, the legends about the spirits here in the mountains.
You mean the werewolves? That is an old wives' tale.
I don't know. Something almost human about its voice. And it doesn't sound like a man, but like a woman.
A woman?
Yes. You know something, Herman? Why I am really most afraid?
Why?
Because I think it is me she really comes for. You hear? As if she were calling me.
Well, that's stopping your white wolf. Father's killed her.
No. He missed her again. He always misses.
My little sister, you give me 3 or 4 days to mend my health with your good soups and your good cooking, and I will shoot your white wolf for you. In the days after my sister had told me of the white wolf, my dreams had been haunted by visions of the animal's shape, twisting and coiling into a pillar of steam, which gradually congealed in the cold winter air into the body of a woman, with corded arms like the feet of some prehensile bird and huge talons built to rip and tear. Within the week, I felt myself again, so much myself, that one morning when we heard... Well, this time I resolved that I should go along with my father.
It is bitter cold, and the snow makes heavy going, Herman. Are you sure you are up to this?
I'm fine now, Father. And I want at least one glimpse of this white wolf of yours.
Not mine till I put a bullet through its head.
Father, why must we stay buried in this wilderness? Why don't we forget the wolf and this rough life and go back to Coburg?
It is not the first time you have asked the question.
Nor the last.
Very well. You are old enough to know. Let us get out of the wind and under the protection of the trees. And while we build a fire to warm the soup Marcella sent with us, I will tell you the truth at last. I had tried to bury the secret, but you are of age. You have a right to know. You already remember that this is not our home, that we are from Transylvania.
I remember the long journey here after our mother died.
She did not die, son. She was killed. I killed her.
What?
In those happier days, I was steward to the Margrave. I was my lord's most trusted servant, successful and happy, and in return he had all my faith and loyalty. Until that terrible night when I returned unexpectedly from a mission he had sent me on to find him with your mother, who was so beautiful and I thought so innocent. My reaction was immediate. Before I knew it, my gun had resounded twice, and both of them were dead. No use to try to tell authorities the provocation. To murder such an eminent man had no justification in their eyes, nor in the laws of that feudal state. I gathered all my money and the 3 of you children and fled to this retreat where we live now. Herman, that is the way of it. Blame me or not as you will. I carry the burden of it on my shoulders, sure that Almighty God will visit me someday with the punishment I have tried so hard to avoid. But what is that?
There. Through the trees, just beyond the turn that comes into this clearing.
The white wolf. My gun.
No. I have a bead on it already. I may have better luck than you, Father. Shh. Don't move.
Wait till you see it clear. And make sure.
I have her right in my sight.
Her?
Marcella thinks the wolf is a female. And now... No! Why did you knock the gun in the air?
Herman, don't you see? It is not a wolf who comes to us. It is a woman. And a beautiful one at that.
How fortunate that young Herman did not kill this lovely woman who had materialized as though out of nowhere. Or would it have been, in hindsight, so terrible a thing? Let's wait for the woman to declare herself first before we judge. I shall be back shortly with Act 2. For a moment, Herman and his father are transfixed. The older man by the dark beauty of the woman, who, even stumbling and reeling from exhaustion, manages to retain an air of grace. The younger man, appalled that, but for his father's hastily flung arm that allowed the carefully aimed gun to discharge harmlessly in the air, he might have ended her life. Then, suddenly coming out of shock, both men rush to her aid.
Are you all right, Fräulein?
Just tired and frozen. My father?
Come to the fire and warm yourself. Where is your father?
The horse tumbled, and we were both thrown from it. I landed in the snow. But my father, he must have hit his head on a rock. I couldn't rouse him, and our horse ran away.
You stay with my father, and I'll see to yours. I ran quickly into the forest by the path from which she had appeared. Racing through the twists and turns, I seemed to be in some enchanted palace. The snow-laden trees, frozen by the cold, forming a shimmering, otherworldly ceiling over my head. Before I knew it, I was slithering and slipping into a declivity. Lying at the bottom, facing me, was the figure of a man richly dressed in a velvet tunic overlaid with a magnificent cape trimmed in fur. Sir?
Oh, I think I must have been stunned a moment. Never mind that. My daughter?
Have no fear, sir. She's with my father. Not over 200 yards from here. She found us and sent us to your aid.
Oh, thanks be to God. We were both at the end of our tether. Krantz, did you say your name was?
Ja, mein Herr.
Your father could not by any chance be Wilhelm Krantz?
Yes, that's his name.
Must be fate. Help me to my feet, boy, and onto my horse, then lead me to my daughter and your father.
And that is how we discovered and brought Manfred of Barnsdorf and his daughter Christina into our home and into our lives. From the beginning, our father was enchanted with her silvery voice and her ethereal beauty, and of course, by the common heritage that we shared with Manfred.
It is fortunate we found you hunting.
I was only lured outside in pursuit of a large white wolf which has been haunting our premises of late.
Ah, yes.
Our quarters are small, but you are welcome to shelter here for as long as it takes you to recover. You said you come from Transylvania.
Even so, mein Herr. I was a chamberlain in the service of the House of Verneigen.
Even as I once was to the Margrave of Bitterstein. But why would you leave such a fine position?
You may well ask. My master conceived a desire for my daughter, not as legal wife, but simply to use for his pleasure. And it ended up by my giving him a few inches of my hunting knife.
Then we are brothers in misfortune, my dear sir.
Ah, brother, indeed. And you need not renew your grief by telling me your story, which I know only too well. We are comrades in misfortune.
Well, you shall make this your home as long as you desire.
Did you hear, Marcella?
Yes, brother.
It seems our family is to be enlarged.
Oh, I pray not.
Why?
I don't know. I cannot bear to look on that woman. For all her beauty, she frightens me so.
Although I was fascinated with Christina, some deep chord in me echoed Marcella's fear. Yet it seemed unreasonable, for Christina was a lovely woman, her features classically molded, her mouth was a dark red, startlingly vivid against the pastel of her other color, and somewhat larger when it was open, revealing the most brilliantly white teeth I have ever beheld. I'll never forget the night I heard my father and Manfred talking together, almost a month after they had come to live with us.
If it is Christina's will, of course you may have my daughter's hand in marriage. And I shall leave you now that my head has mended and find habitation elsewhere.
Why not remain here, Manfred?
No, I am called elsewhere.
But
Let what I say suffice. Ask no more questions. You may have my child.
I thank you for her truly and will duly value her. There is, however, one difficulty.
I can guess what you would say. There is no priest here in this wild country, nor is there law to bind. Still, there must pass between you some ceremony to satisfy your father.
Of course. But what?
Will you consent to marry her after my fashion?
Yes, I will.
Then I shall marry you directly. Christina!
Yes, Father?
I wish you in here directly.
Coming.
I will get my children.
No need. This is amongst us elders.
What is your wish, Father?
Less my wish than yours. You wish to marry Wilhelm?
If it is his wish, it is my dearest one.
Then come. Take hands.
What is that?
Your wedding march. You have her hand?
Yes.
Then swear by all the spirits of the Harz Mountain.
I swear, but why not by heaven?
Because it is not my humor. If I prefer an oath less binding, will you deny me?
You want me to swear by what I do not believe?
Will you be married, or shall I take my daughter away with me?
What will you have me swear?
Swear by all the spirits of the Hartz Mountains, by all their power for good and evil, that you take Christina to be your lawful wedded wife, that you will protect her, cherish her, and love her, that your hand shall never be raised against her to harm her.
I do solemnly swear.
And swear that if you fail in this vow, may all the vengeance of the spirits fall upon you and your children. May their flesh be torn from their limbs and their bones blanch in the wilderness, and that to this oath you pledge their blood. Swear.
I swear.
Such was the second marriage of my father. From the inner room of the cottage, peering through a crack in the door, we 3 children watched. I with an arm about Caesar, who was struck dumb, and my sister Marcella, who was trembling from hand to foot with fright and despair. The next morning, our life with our stepmother began.
Marcella, come here at once.
Yes?
Marcella.
I'm sorry.
Yes? Who?
Yes, Mother.
You find it so difficult to say?
Yes. No. I mean, just strange.
How do you mean, strange?
Just that my real mother has been... I mean, we have had no mother for so long that it's hard to say.
You will learn to say it, and to treat me as one, and to obey me. All of you. And when I call, I want you to come quicker.
I'm sorry.
Sorry who?
I'm sorry, Mother. I was preparing a soup for the dinner.
Who told you to do that?
Why, no one. But I always
From now on, I will be in charge of what we eat. You will cook and clean and wash the dishes and do the household chores. But I decide what we eat and how we eat it.
Yes, Mother.
That's better. Now, you can prepare the vegetables and set the table. I will prepare the meat.
Herman, wake up.
Well, what is it?
Shh, it's her.
Who?
The stepmother. She's gone out.
Gone out?
Yes. Gone out the door and in her nightclothes.
Are you sure? In this winter weather, not dressed, with snow on the ground? Good Lord. There's a wolf. She'll be torn to pieces. But apparently, she bore a charmed life. For a few minutes later, we watched her return, still in her nightdress. She went to a pail of water, washed her hands and face carefully, and returned to bed. All this, I may say, I watched as in a dream, for my fever was coming back on me. So much so, I had to take to my bed again, and through the days was able to watch how cruel and demanding my stepmother was to Marcella and Caesar, and to learn that every night, the moon now being full, she stole outside in her nightdress to roam.
Herman, wake up. Oh, wake up.
Yes, I'm awake. I'm awake.
Forgive me for bothering you when you were sick, but I'm almost out of my mind.
But what is it, dear sister?
Her again. She's out prowling the night, and it's bitter cold with the snow coming down. It's not human. Listen to that.
I'm almost ready to pray the wolves might get her.
They'll never get her. It isn't wolves. Only one. I looked out of the window. The moon is full and high. It's that special one. The white wolf.
Who fired that shot?
Oh, it must have been Caesar.
Caesar?
Yes. He knew you were sick, and he's been bragging to me how he could take your place and guard us all. Oh, that's why I woke you. Somehow he followed her into the night.
Well, at least he seems to have driven off the wolf. Marcella, help me out of bed.
No, you have the fever, and
What's that?
It's her. Her dress all bloody. And she's alone. But where? Oh, dear sweet God. Where is our little brother?
Behind the door, the watching girl suddenly feels the blood drain from her head, and a wave of faintness makes her reach for support. In the room outside, the woman turns, moving silently to her bedroom, her wide mouth open in a caricature of a smile. There is blood on her gleaming teeth. I shall return shortly with Act 3. The moon is now obscured by dark clouds heavy with snow. Outside the cabin, the snow is pouring down. And what might be a small figure dark against the snow has now become only a minor unevenness in the white carpet. Inside the cottage, Marcella, noticing her brother's weakness, has gone to his aid.
Herman, brother, let me help you lie down.
No. I'm all right. You watch her. What is she doing now?
She's going into their bedroom. Shh. Wait.
Who is it?
Lie still, dearest. It's only me. I have lighted the fire to warm some water. I'm not quite well.
What? I'll get up, Christina.
No need. It's nothing. I can manage myself.
Tell me, what is she doing now?
Stirring up the fire. And now she is changing her linen and... her right leg is bleeding. As if...
Wait. Let me see. For myself. As I watched in horror, half supported by my little sister, I saw the wound in her leg. There was no mistaking that a bullet had grazed her. I fought back the red mist that was beginning to swim before my eyes long enough to see her remove those parts of clothing that were stained with blood and burn them in the fire after bandaging her leg. Then she sat, huddled before the flames. The last thing I saw was her wiping her lips daintily and casting the kerchief into the roaring blaze. When I woke up, Marcella was sitting in a chair by my bed.
All right, Herman?
Yes. I feel better, but weak.
The fever's gone.
You were with me all night?
Yes. I was afraid to go to bed. She's still sitting there in front of the fire.
And Caesar, did he come back?
No. He never returned. Oh, Herman, where is he? How was she wounded unless it was from his gun? And if that's how she was wounded, then that means that she's...
Good morning, Christina, my dear. You're up and about early.
I thought to make your breakfast.
Why? Where is Marcella and the boy?
Hey, quick, go ask him, where is Caesar?
All right.
Oh, there you are, Marcella. What are you doing in Herman's room?
If you please, Father. Herman has the fever again. He cannot rise from his bed. But where is my little brother, Caesar?
Is he not in his room?
No, his bed has not been slept in. And he is nowhere in the house. Merciful heavens. Perhaps that's what woke me. I was restless and not feeling well, and I thought I heard the door latch opening. But when I came out, the room was empty. Why would the boy...
What is it, Christina?
My dear husband, nothing, I hope. But your gun is missing. It's no longer hanging over the chimney. Father, Papa, I thought I heard the white wolf last night. And
Hush, child, a little boy. Christina, hand me my broad axe.
Leaning weakly against the door, I had heard and seen all this. And when my father went out without another word, in the short while he was gone, I was able to dress myself, so that I was just coming out into the main room as he returned.
Caesar! Oh, no!
No, clear. Clear the table, Christina, so I may lay him down.
Yes, husband.
Stop your weeping, girl, and help her.
Yes, Papa. You may put him down now, Wilhelm.
Yes. Poor, broken little body. Savaged and mangled.
The boy must have taken your gun down and gone after some wolf. But the animal was too powerful for him. Oh, poor child. A dear price to pay for such rashness.
For 3 days, while the family mourned, I lay in a stupor. You see, my days and nights were filled with fevered dreams, through which a great white wolf ran snarling, slashing at me with gleaming white fangs. Waking sometimes, I seemed to see my stepmother's face floating above me. And through my twisting, fevered tossings, again and again with the looming of night beneath my window about the house, I heard the growl of a wolf. Till one day, I came back to my senses to find Marcella sitting beside me, holding my hand.
Oh, you're awake. Can I get you something?
No. I'm all right again, I think. Well, how long have I been...
Almost a week.
Are you all right?
Yes.
But Caesar... Oh, I seem to remember. Marcella...
He's dead, Mother dear. Every day I've wanted to go to his grave and pray. But Papa has kept us all here in mourning. Today, Father went, at my constant urging, to make sure that all was well.
And was it?
He hasn't returned yet.
And the stepmother...
You'll be glad to know that I'm in the best of health. I'm sorry for your indisposition. You must be very weak.
Thank you, but I'll soon have my strength back. Dr. Baum is due to return soon. He'll have me on my feet in no time. For that matter, I feel fine now.
Where is everyone?
In Herman's room, husband
Can you
dear.
imagine, Christina, that those wolves, perdition take their whole species, have contrived to dig up my poor boy, and there is nothing left but his bones.
Oh, no. No, that's impossible.
Not so, Papa. A wolf growls under our window every night.
Why didn't you tell me, Marcella? You wake me the next time you hear it.
I will if...
Wilhelm, Herman is much better, and everything is under control here. But you, poor husband, you had such a shock. Come away with me. Let me soothe you in your grief.
But how could they have moved those stones?
What were you going to say to Father?
I was going to say that all this week while you lay in fever and Father mourned, every night without fail, she left after midnight and was gone till early morning hours. Where do you think she went?
I shudder to imagine. But one thing I do know, you or I could be next. We must get away from here.
It cannot be too soon for me. The moment you are strong enough.
Yes, I agree. Until then, we must stay together, always.
Except when Papa is in the house. We're safe with him. But he could be in danger, too.
Well, it's a danger he'll have to face. Perhaps this is his retribution for killing our mother. Remember, I told you.
Yes. But first, we must think of you. And then when the time comes, we will do what has to be done.
When the time comes. How bitterly I blame myself for not moving immediately, as I should have. Dr. Baum arrived, suddenly, just as I had a full remission of my fevers and my weakness. I was still abed, but ready to rise. More ready, I suppose, than the good doctor realized, else I would never have heard his fatal words.
These anemic conditions, a kind of cancer of the blood for which there is no known cure yet. Some colleagues lean to the name leukemia, but even in the enlightened 18th century, we have no way to stop it from being terminal.
How long?
Who knows exactly? A week, a month, and certainly not much longer. Probably sooner than later.
I stumbled away from inside the front door where I had been listening. I fell on my bed and wept. Why? Why had God singled me out for this fate? By that very night, I was to know. It was shortly before twilight when the doctor left. An hour, perhaps a little longer, had passed, when suddenly I was summoned out of my melancholy by... Marcella! Marcella! Father, where is she?
She went out to pick some herbs for dinner.
No, I don't mean my sister. I mean your wife.
Christina, out walking.
Not Christina. She is the White Wolf. Don't you know what you married?
Oh, Herman, my poor boy. You are under the influence of a fever. You don't know what you're saying.
Don't I? Well, look. There, you see.
That damned White Wolf. Give me my gun. What is it, Christina? What is it?
Did you see a white wolf?
Yes, but what is it?
Oh, it's too horrible to think of. Marcella. Oh, no, I can't say it. She's
not dead.
I'm afraid so. My loving stepson. That wolf has torn her to pieces.
For several days, I thought my father would never recover from the shock of losing his second child. I was numb myself. Together we buried her, although it was 2 days before he could bear to consign Marcella to what he called her last resting place. If only that could have been true. But the monster was not yet satisfied, nor was I. On the third night after my sister was buried, I watched that foul woman, or whatever she was, rise and leave the house. Immediately, I went and wakened my father.
Who is it?
It's Herman, Father. You come with me.
But where are we going? What are you doing with my gun?
We're going to kill the White Wolf. But first, I want you to see her for what she really is. It was bright moonlight as I led my father to my sister's grave. And there, too ghastly to relate, was my stepmother in her white nightgown tearing away the stones piled above the grave. She was frantic with haste. In a moment, she was in the grave and ready to rend the sweet flesh apart with her hands, ready to devour it.
Oh, great God in heaven.
Your wife, or what passes for one. See what you sold yourself, and us too. This time, I will make sure there is no miss. She dropped like a stone, a bullet through her head. We rushed to the grave. But imagine our horror to find, lying across the remains of my dead sister, not my stepmother, but the body of a large white wolf.
What have you done to my daughter, Wilhelm? Where is she?
Where she should be, Manfred of Ponsdorf. Where fiends belong. In hell, I hope.
Remember your oath that you would never harm her.
I made no compact with evil spirits.
You did. And if you failed in your vow, your children were to meet the vengeance of the spirits, to perish and their bones blanch in the wilderness, as yours shall do for what you have done to my daughter. A bullet for a bullet. But my daughter is immortal and will wreak her revenge on the last of your blood. Up, Christina, up!
Great weakness was upon me again, and I watched transfixed, as in a flare of lightning, the body of the wolf twitched and then dissolved in a blinding white light, out of which Christina appeared. Taking her father's hands, she leapt up behind them on the horse, her voice carrying on the wind as they disappeared.
I will be back for you, Herman. Never fear. I will be back.
Somehow I brought my father home to die, and somehow I buried him beside my sister and my brother. Then the fever overwhelmed me. I lie now in my bed, weak and helpless, waiting for her to come. The white wolf, the glistening teeth bared, the fangs ready to sink into my throat and slake her insatiable thirst on the blood which first attracted her to this mountain cottage. I wait in eager anticipation. No bullet, no dagger, no mortal means could damage this white wolf. Only the tainted blood which flows through my veins. And so, by an ironic twist of the Almighty, will bring her to the death she so richly deserves. Come, Ilion, come. Sink your fangs and drink my blood so that in dying I can send you to burn to hell for all eternity.
Do you feel a shudder run through you? An icy wave of distaste chill the spine? The chance you take, when I open that door and invite you in. I promise you a gripping tale. Not always a nice one. But if you've listened to this late at night, sleep easy. The white wolf is dead. I shall be back shortly. I know there is a move afoot to persuade us that the wolf is a much maligned creature, that he is a loving, a good companion, and never kills except for food and sustenance. I'm sure it may be so, but I'll take it on faith. I don't want to prove it by testing the theory. Personally, every time I hear a wolf howl, which is not often, I'm glad to say, I'm tempted to revert to childhood and hide my head under the nearest blanket. Our cast included Norman Rose, Christopher Tabori, Jada Rowland, Ann Shepard, and Paul Tripp. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
Bye.